Hey guys, so this is the new recording that I'm gonna be sending to you, hopefully by tonight. So I wanted to kind of take it back to the beginning from when we started, and just kind of like make my way back again into D5, and just kind of do it now that I'm gonna have no problems with technology. Hopefully that's the case, but I just wanted to go over the first script that I showed you guys, that I gave you guys in Canvas to like to assign layers and materiality to your project once you already have your layers and names to be able to assign materials. So then we can do the box mapping, and we're gonna do the process a little bit different this time. So we're gonna start with the box mapping. But as you can see, my materials, so each of my layers, they don't have any materials right now, so it's not assigned anything. So now what I'm gonna do, that's the first thing I'm gonna do after I have um my model done and everything is ready, my site is done, and obviously the way that I showed you guys how to do um your sites, if you were to craft one, so then you can put your model in there and then be able to render it in a nice landscape. I can show that very quickly now, just to, since this will be the main tutorial. I'm still gonna give the other one just as a reference, but I'll give you guys this tutorial as well. So the way that I did this, I'm just gonna grab, and again, you can craft like a super cool surface. So like, I guess I'm just gonna do that right now. I'm just gonna craft something very fast that might look be like organic and might have some cool intricate shapes into it. So now that I have this, for example, the way that I was able to get these tangents, again, it was using the command arc blend. So I'm going to type arc blend in here, and then since I have a closed curve completely, I am just going to tap in one side and then tap on the other side like this, and then you're gonna get the curve that then you can grab the points and just kind of move it to create those like nice tangents, right? So I can just move that and kind of like play with it until I'm happy and or you're happy with it. And that's exactly what I did to do all these figurines like that. So then they have like a super nice geometry, perfect geometry, tangent geometry, that then it would look more appealing. So after I do that, you just press enter, then I'll trim this line, right? So then I'm able to get rid of that line, and then I have my tangent in there. So again, like you're gonna do that for the rest. If you were to do it that way, if you were to follow that technique, you do it for the rest of the lines, and make sure that every time you do it, you join, because what's gonna happen is that since you trimmed, this curve is not gonna be close. So make sure that every time you do it, just do the command join. So then when you do arc blend, you can take the arc blend through everywhere, through the entire curve. Um, and then the other command that I want to show you, if you go here to drafting and you click on this one that is called arc tangent, you can just click on that one. The way that one works, it just works as a tangent for like a circle, so it's a little more free and control. So you can kind of control that one on your own, and you can just kind of like see what tangent do you want or curve, and you can use this for anything that you're doing. In if you, if you're just doing any type of curves or tangent, this is a really good command. So I can just go again and trim what I don't need, and then just kind of keep the curve that I need, and then again I'll join again. So, but yeah, that's kind of the process and how I got that. So then let's just say that I'm done with my surface. I'm done with it. I'm gonna make sure I join this again. Let me make sure it's joined. So this is actually a great thing that this happens, because I want to show you guys a little trick. So you guys see here that when I do join, it says unable to join curves right on the top. Well, to be able to fix that, all you have to do is literally click on the line. So one thing, if the gumball shows up like that, just go right here. Oops, just go to the little blue thing and then just put align to C plane, and then the gumball's gonna go directly to the middle of the object, so it's not right on the it's not right on the corner point. So what we want to do is like grab the corner point, just like click on the line, click on the corner point, either move it with the gumball or do the command move, then just shift it to the side. Now we're gonna then bring that same control point back inside here, but make sure that these are kind of the settings I work with. Make sure that you have all these on: end point, near point, point, mid, intersection, perpendicular, tangent, quad, nox, and vertex. Make sure you have those on, and make sure that you have um what do you call it, all snap enabled, because if you disable it, then you can't use any of those. The whole reason why you want that is because I'm able to grab control points, I'm able to just get near lines, and I'm able to snap on them. That's the whole reason. So if I grab this point again and I put it back in here, and then I do the join command again. Now you see that it worked. It says joining curves. So for some odd reason, that's a runaway or a shortcut that I have found to be able um, to find why my curves don't work, and sometimes they give you errors. Now when I click on this curve, it says it's still open, so I want to find out why. So if I go here, a good trick to know if why the curve is where it's being open and not closed, I can just go back here and I will go align to object, and that's going to do is going to point me to the area where the curve ends. So for some reason I have an error here. I don't know what the error is, so what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna just grab the point. So if I zoom in, you can see that I have two interlocking points. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna explode the line. And I'm glad all these errors actually are happening. I was not planning on this, but this is good in case you run on it. So like if I grab that line and I grab this line, you see how they overlap? This line overlaps this one. That means the curve is gonna be open. So I'm just gonna grab the control point. I'm gonna click on this one, grab the control point. Then I'm just gonna move it out of the way. And then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, I see now where the error is. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna control Z, I'm gonna put it back. Then I'm gonna click this line, I'm gonna click this line, I'm gonna do the command trim. And then I'm just gonna click any of them. It doesn't really matter which one. And then it's gonna trim that for me. So then that means that now these 2 points are connected together. So now if I zoom out and I select the whole thing and I join it should work. So now it says to join 5 curves. If I click on it, now it says close curve. So this is a really good error that happened because sometimes that's really annoying. And when you're doing line work and section plans and stuff like that, and you want to have a close curve, and sometimes that happens, just do the little trick that I showed you in terms of like, if you know that this big curve and this one are not going to close, then do that. Just grab the curve that is not closing, move the control point, put it back. And if not, and if you join everything, it says open, click on the curve, then do this little trick here that you can just do align to object, and then it will go into the point where the curve is not closed. Now my curve is closed right now, so now it's just going to go to any type of point in the curve, so it's okay. So I'm just going to go back to C plane. So now that this is closed, I'm just going to do planar surface on it. Planar surface is just going to make my surface a actual poly surface in terms of alignment. I'm going to go back to my perspective. And then now I'm going to rebuild my surface. So I'm going to do the command rebuild. Then now I see that I have 30. So if I rebuild it like this, it's going to say 30. I'm just gonna go, yeah, 30. So okay, I can preview it and then it tells me how many points. I'm just gonna do 30 points. Then to turn the points on, it's gonna be F10, and then I'm gonna have control over how I can move the landscape. So I can just like kind of grab this and move it, just kind of how I showed you guys yesterday in class briefly. So again, I can move all these control points and deform my landscape however I want to, and then I can then place my object somewhere where I have flat surface, so then I can like render my object. And let's say I'm happy with this, I can get rid of this curve already. I don't really need it. I can grab my object. Let's say this is your project, and then you can just grab it, put it anywhere that you see fit. You can put it inside the holes, or you can put it like in a corner, however you see or are envisioning to render this model. Think about it before you put it into D5, so then you already have it. So let's say I put it here per se. Oops. So I grab it, I put it here, and then that's kind of where my object goes, and that's kind of how I'm going to think about my landscape, where I have my plants, my trees, and whatever. So now to be able to get different surfaces like I did, remember, like are going to go up in your top view. Then I'm going to just go to my standard here, and then I'm going to grab my control point curve. And then if you want to make it organic, just kind of draw a shape, right? Just like any type of shape that you want to. I'm just gonna do this very quick. If you want to make it look like super geometrical and stuff like that, do arctangent just like I showed you. But for the sake of just the example, I'm just gonna kind of like bring this line on top of this. So then what I'm gonna do, so like right now, if I do it like this, I'm gonna split this surface and I'm gonna have this entire surface on its own, right? So what I want to do is that I want to do project to surface. So I'm gonna do project. I'm gonna click on the command, then it's gonna tell me to select the curve. I'm gonna select that curve, I'm gonna place enter. Then I'm gonna select the surface, I'm gonna place enter. Then now what's gonna happen, if I go back to my perspective as I showed you guys yesterday, you're gonna see that now my line is gonna follow the curve. and then this one's just gonna be like out. So then I can just delete it, which is the old line. Now I'm just gonna use this line. So now the problem is that I have this line, I have, and I have this line, right? So I need to be able to close it so I can be able to split the surface. We're just gonna dupe edge the curve here that continues. Make sure that sometimes when you have the type of surfaces, you have to dupe edge a little bit more so then you're able to get the entire segment that closes that specific curve. So I'm gonna do the same thing on that end. That one grabbed a lot, but it's okay. It doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna press enter. Then now I'm gonna join that. So now that I joined it, obviously different case scenario for everybody since you're gonna have different lines, but this is just in the example I'm showing you. I'm gonna trim the excess lines I don't need. Trim that. I'm gonna trim this. Okay, I know. Okay, so then now I'm gonna go to the other side. I'm gonna do the same. Trim here. So now I have this entire curve closed. So what I all I have left to do, I'm gonna deselect. I'm gonna just delete this line that I have extra, and I'm gonna select my lines again, and I'm gonna join them together. So now that they're joined, let's double check that. Yep, all closed curve. Now I'm gonna go back to my top view, and I'm gonna do the command split. I'm gonna select the object that I want to split with. So select the object, select the line, and then there you go. That's my new surface now. So now what I want to do, I want to create a new layer for that. And then once you have a different layer, you can, I'm just gonna put it on this one for now. And then I have my new landscape in there. So I can like do that as many times as you want. If you want to break this in 4 or 5 different 6 parts, so then you're able to control the scatter tool that we talked about yesterday in plants and be able to make it a little more dynamic, by all means do so. So get creative with it and have fun with it and do something very cool. Like it's very open-ended. I'm not looking for something specifically in terms of like how the landscape should look like. Just get creative with it and do something cool. And I used water on mine. You don't have to use water. You can just keep it on landscape. It's all up to you. So just as make it look pretty and make it look good. Okay, so that's for that. So at least to show you a technique on how I made my surface. So I'm gonna delete that. Now what I want to show you is the script to get the materials in. And then we're gonna do the box mapping. So then when we go back to into D5, then all our texture mapping are the same, and we can just it can be seamless through the landscape, and we can control it better. So now we're gonna run the script. So I'm gonna go into my tools. I'm gonna go into my Rhino script. I'm gonna load it. So right now I don't have it. I completely took it out from my other file. So I'm gonna add it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go add, right? And then I have this is my folder that I have it in. It's called 832 assign unique material to layer. You guys already have that in Canvas. So download it, put it in folder for this assignment specifically, save it, and then just add it from there. So I'm gonna click that. I'm gonna open it. Now that I open it, I'm gonna click on it and I'm gonna load it. And you're gonna see what happens when I load it. When I load it, now boom. Now my entire model grabbed a material ID. So they all have their own material IDs. So now when we go to D5, we're not gonna have an issue in applying materials. Now the last step before we do this, we're gonna box map everything. So we're gonna grab the entire model and we're gonna go into properties. So this little thing right here that says properties, click on that, and then you're gonna go here where it says texture mapping. So when you're in texture mapping, this is what it shows you. This is the texture mapping numbers, just like in D5 when I was showing you guys yesterday. If you remember, I was able to play with the numbers so then I can get the texture that I want. It's the same idea here. So I'm going to go into box mapping, which is this guy right here. It says apply box mapping. So I'm going to click it. And then I'm going to just give it a even number, like not an even number, but like the same number everywhere. So the box mapping is perfect. So again, I'm just gonna do a 10 by 10 by 10 box. So when I do it, let me just do that again. I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna just click in the screen, right? It tells you first corner of base, and you can just do it anywhere in the screen. I'm gonna click it, and then I'm just gonna type 10, for example. I'm gonna do a 10 by 10 by 10 box, right? So now that's my box. I did my 10 by 10 box, and then it's gonna tell you capped, and then you're gonna just press enter. So now that means that my entire model now is mapped, right? So now when I go into D5 and I apply materials, then I'm gonna have to, well, they're gonna be seamed. They're gonna be seamless. All this landscape, they're all gonna be the same. So no matter what number I give them, I'm gonna put the same number everywhere. Then when I go into the actual project, then I'm just gonna now customize that one a little bit, but the box mapping is gonna be corrected based on what this model is, okay? So now let's export this into D5. So the way I want to do it this time though, I showed you guys how it worked with the connect to D5 render. I'm not gonna do it this way this time. I want to do it the other way so you guys also learn it. I already showed you how to do this way, which basically if you click here, it's gonna open D5 automatically, and then the project's gonna be in there, and then you can manipulate it. I am not gonna manipulate anything on this anymore. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna save my file. But obviously, if you're working on your studio project or in anything, and like for myself too, if I'm working on an ongoing project that I need to be continuously changing, then yes, I am gonna link the model. But for this exercise, I'm not gonna do a linking. Sometimes it can lag depending on the project, but like at least for this case, I'm not going to. Again, only do it if you're gonna be going back and forth, and it's okay too. You can still do that workflow. It works. I just want to show you the other way so you understand how to do it the other way. So again, to link it, just press right here, the little icon bottom here to do that. But actually, since I did not cover, I did cover in the other tutorial, but since I'm doing this again, I'm going to show you how to get this in here again. So if you go to the launcher, if I open the launcher and I go to workflows and I go into sync, you're going to see Rhino Live Sync. You're going to install that. So I already have it installed, so that's why it says open folder. Once you install it, you're going to exit out of this. You're going to save your file, get out of Rhino, then come back in again. When you come back to Rhino again, it's going to show you a little window that says like, oh, like D5 was added or whatever it shows you. It's okay. Just go to options in Rhino. If nothing, it shows you, if for example, let's say that nothing comes up, just go to options in Rhino, type options, and then go into toolbars. And then in toolbars, the first thing that's going to come up is the default toolbar, which is all of this. What you want to do is that you want to change it to D5 conv, and then you want to make sure that that's on. Once that's on, you're going to put OK. Then the little window with D5 settings is going to come up. Then you can grab that. You can grab that little window and you can put it anywhere. So right now I have it here. So you can put it below the layers. You can put it below the commands. Like pick a part of the screen where you want it or you feel comfortable. Or if you want to leave it floating, up to you. I usually just leave it here because then every time I open Rhino, it's already saved. So that is the way that you get that tool. Okay. So again, click here and then you're going to be able to directly merge with it, and then you're going to be able to play with it in both ends. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to move forward by just opening the file in D5 itself. So I'm going to save, I guess I already saved my file. I already have my stuff ready to go for D5. So I'm going to open the launcher. Then I'm going to go home. I'm going to create a new project. So I'm going to call a new project. Now D5 is going to open. So I can already probably close this. So I don't really need it. So I'm going to close my Rhino file. So then my computer's not working so hard. Again, also another good thing about not doing the syncing is that your computer's going to work less hard. But you can still, like, if you have a model and you needed to update it, you can still bring parts of that model into D5 without linking it. You can still bring stuff in. So like if you were to export, because what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to bring the model as a Rhino file in here, but it's not going to be synced. But the way that you can, if you were to update your model somewhere, like if you change a couple walls or a window or you add a new landscape in Rhino, you can just grab that file and you can just save what you need, and you export as a Rhino file the parts that you change. And after that, you can just bring it into D5 as another layer, and then it would just pop in the same place, and then you can just put materiality and stuff like that. Okay, so that's like kind of the way around it. Obviously, it takes an extra step because it's not linked, but again, it all depends on your computing power, so just always be mindful on that. Okay. Okay, so now that we're in D5, so basically the way that the tools work, first I'm gonna I'm gonna be in the orbit tool. That's kind of how it starts. So if I right click and I move around, it orbits around the canvas. If I press shift and right click, then I can move around panning. Then if I scroll in, obviously scrolls in and you move into the screen. If I change this to fly mode, then with right click I can move around, and then with WASD, so W's to move up, I'm sorry, to move forward, A to move left, D to move right, S to move back. If I press shift W, I move up quicker, and same thing if I press shift A, to the side quicker, or to the right quicker, or to the back quicker. And if I press the space and then the moving tool, W or A or D or S, then I'm gonna move slower. Now, if you want to move quicker just without pressing shift, we go here, we can change the speed. So I'm gonna put it like at 100 so you can see the difference. So if I move, like you see how quick that moves. So I'm gonna leave that in 15 for now. So those are basically how you navigate in D5. It's really simple and easy. These are some of the tools. Some of these tools we're gonna be using them today in the tutorial. Um, and I did go over some of them when we spoke on Wednesday. Right here is the layers. So like if I were to turn this terrain layer off and on, then I can see it on and off. So the terrain is just the main um, land that DeFi brings in. You can change that terrain in the assets. So like if we don't want to use this terrain, for example, I can go to assets. I can go to terrain, and then if I go down here, I see a lot of different styles. Not these are height maps that I can create mountains. We're not gonna really do that right now. But I just wanted to show you the different environments you can use here. So like any of these we can use. So for example, or any of these right here. So for example, if I want to say, okay, I want something more sandy and soily, I'm gonna double click on this. And I suggest that you do this at the beginning of the project before importing anything in. So then the file, because sometimes it can be a little bit clunky. So I would just do it at the beginning, kind of pick a vibe that you want and then just stick with that one. I'm going to double click it. Now it's just going to load. So this will change now, as you will see in a second. It changed. So it changed in I think this might be the sandy beach, the sandy soil. Let me see this one. Yeah. So just double click on it. Sometimes it might take longer. Just double clicking the one that you want. So maybe let me go with grassland. I'm gonna be doing something more vegetative wise, so I might probably go with this one. Double click on that, and then it changes. So again, just pick the vibe that you want, and then just go on from there. Actually, maybe this one is better. Actually, and you can just download them all and try them and see how they look. Also, the nice thing about these is that whenever you do a mountain, then you're gonna be able to see the change in that mountain specifically. So like if it's snow, then the mountain's gonna have snow. If it's like in sandy, the mountain will have sand. So again, like it's gonna apply directly. You don't have to worry about um adding any texture to the mountains or anything like that. So I mean I can quickly show you guys actually very quick. So if I click the mountain, oh, so you can see like how I dragged it. Just make sure that you're above. If you go below, so what's happening right now is that this is I'm like super close in the camera, so then I'm seeing the inside of the geometry. So you kind of want to put that back a little bit, like just it's kind of like sensitive. So I would just click when you're happy with it, and then if you want to edit it, this is the moving tool. So I'm gonna put my assets on the right. This is the moving tool, so like I can move it around. Then if I press V, I can change to the scale tool and I can like move it and scale the mountain as big or tall that I want to. I can scale it up. I can stretch it to the side. So it all depends what you're looking for. So again, I'm probably not gonna use it right now. So if you want to delete it, just click on it and get rid of it. Maybe for my scene, if I want to have something in the background that shows me like a mountain kind of thing, then I might use it. So it all depends on what you want to do. So okay, so at least I already show you how the terrain works. Show you how to change different types of terrain. Just again, double click them, give them a second to download and be able to be applied to the scene. So now what we're gonna do is that we are going to bring our project in. So we're gonna bring our project in as a Rhino file. So we're gonna go File, Import, and then I'm gonna go into my model. The one that I want to bring in is this one, which I saved yesterday. Then I'm gonna click here, and then you're gonna see it loading in there. So just give it a second. Now that it's loaded, I'm gonna click on it, and then I'm just gonna hover over the screen, right? So don't wait for it. You have to click on it, and um, you have to click in the file, and then you have to click inside canvas to be able to see it. So then I'm gonna place it. So now I have my project here. And this is the moving tool, by the way, with what I showed you earlier. This is what I couldn't see on Wednesday that I was not having. So I couldn't really move the model through D5 for some reason, and I had to do it through Rhino. So I don't know what was the problem there, but at least we have the moving tool. It's really nice and big, and you can see it. So I'm just gonna place my model somewhere like around here. If you wanted to put it to sync to coordinates, this one. For some reason, for me, it goes below ground. I'm just gonna kind of bring it up and then just play with that. That's if you want to keep it with the syncing coordinates of Rhino. So okay, cool. I have my model in. So now what I want to do, I want to do materials, right? So let's first start with the materials of the land, and then I'll move to the models materials. So I'm gonna get out of my moving tool. I'm gonna go into my assets. I'm gonna go into my materials. Then I'm gonna go into natural raw materials, and then I'm just gonna pick one to then move forward with uh to add in my grassland, and then I'm gonna change the texture mapping based on what it's looking like. We already texture mapped in Rhino, so that means that all these materials are gonna be seamless no matter what number I give it. They're gonna be the same. That's why we do the texture mapping, so then they're all the materials are seamlessly the same. So I'm gonna click on this one. I like this grass gravel one. Then I'm gonna hover over with the paint dropper, then click on it, and then it's gonna give me the material. So now what I want to do before I exit or anything, I want to fix these numbers. Maybe make this a little bit bigger or maybe smaller. Let's go like 0.7. Okay, I like that more. It's a little it's more tight or together. So then I'm gonna go do the same. So I'm gonna add the same. And obviously, I mean, if you want to change materials in the land, you can do them differently. I mean, it's all up to you. I'm gonna keep it the same just for consistency in terms of how the transition happens. So I did point 0.7 on the other one. I'm gonna do the same thing here. So then everything's the same, and you can see like how there's like a seamless transition here. I'm gonna go to my other one, my last one over here in the back. I'm gonna click it, do the same 0.7, and then there you go. I'm done with that. Now I'm gonna add my water. I think I might have to move my model taller, so be careful if you have something that goes like this. I'm gonna go get out of here for a second. I'm gonna go into my model in object. You have to go to object. If you go to import it and you click this, it's gonna make another copy of your model. So just go back to object. You don't have to go to importing anymore since you're not importing anything. I'm gonna click here, and then I'm gonna use the moving tool to move it up, and it comes out automatically, the moving tool. To switch back and forth between the moving tool and the scale tool, you press letter V again. So that's the shortcut, or you can go up here and then change it. So now that I'm good with that, I'm going to go into my assets library again, and I'm going to select I'm going to select my water. So where's the water? Water right here. Okay. And I'm going to pick the water that's more appealing to me and to you. If you're using any water, just select the one that you like the most. Then I'm going to apply the dropper on it. Now, before I do that, before I get out of the asset, I'm going to put this to the side, and then I'm just going to edit the ripples and to see where I'm happy with this. So the stretch, let me put this at 0.2 and see how it looks. So a little bit bigger, or do I want a bigger, or do I want a smaller? We can test that out. Let's put it in between, maybe like 0.7. Okay, and then if we do the refraction, that means how much is reflecting off the lighting. And then if we do the velocity, obviously that's how fast the water is moving. Right now I have this in still. If I put it in dynamic, you're gonna see the water to move right now. So if I put the flow velocity really high, it's gonna move really quick. So I don't suggest you do that. I'll always keep it slow to keep a more natural movement. Then the depth is gonna be how deep the water is, obviously. But you can see, like, if I make the deepness higher, then the water gets darker, obviously, because there's not that much sunlight going in. So like maybe you want to do an in between, or depending how you want to make the scene feel. Okay, and obviously if you're rendering that area or not. So now that I'm done with my water, since it I have the same materiality for them, it's gonna apply on that side as well. So I'm gonna escape. Now I'm gonna go now and apply material to my model. So I'm first gonna start with the facade. Bring my asset library here so you can see it. I'm gonna minimize it a little bit, and then just kind of start playing with the texture. So I'm gonna go with a stone. I'm gonna go with this pearl red marble for my facade texture. Then I'm gonna fix the texture just in case it needs fixing. So I would suggest every time you put a texture, fix it. I'm gonna put my speed down. It's a bit too quick right now. What's at 200? It's really, really a lot. It makes it harder for me to move even lower. At least for now, because I'm moving very delicately, so I want to move slow. Let me fix the scale. So right now it's at 1. But if I do 0.2, I kind of lose that, so it gets bigger. So if I do 1.5, it gets smaller, so it's a little more higher resolution. So I'm gonna leave it at there. Then I'm gonna go into my other volumes. I'm gonna use this Amazon green for my main volume here. And then let's see if the scale looks correct. Looks okay. It does look okay actually. I do like it just like that. I mean, it's up to you to change the scale of the texture now, depending how it's looking. And then for the bottom ones, I'm gonna use this blue marble. So I'm gonna use this blue marble. One here, and then maybe one of them I'm gonna make it one scale. So this one I can probably make it like 0.5, maybe the scale's bigger. So then the textures are different. Now, if you see this little thing here, that's probably a geometry error from Rhino. That doesn't mean that I did it wrong when I did this. It just happens to be that the rendering program reads it that way. So if you have something like this where you put a texture and it's not mapping correctly, don't worry about it. If you render it and you see it in the view that you render, we're gonna do that in Photoshop, and I'll show you how to do that in Photoshop. It's extremely easy. So we're not gonna waste our time to try to go back to Rhino and try to figure that out. So that's okay. That can all be fixed in Photoshop. Okay, so now that I did that texture there, I'm gonna go back, click this material again, then I'm gonna apply it on this one, and then this one I might leave it just on that one, so then the textures are a little bit different. Okay, and now I'm gonna do my roof material. So for my roof material, I'm gonna go with a plastic, and I'm gonna use this green plastic. I'm gonna click on it. Then right now the scale is kind of big, honestly, so I'm gonna go a little bit down. I'm gonna go higher, so I'm gonna put like a 2, maybe, so it's not like red so much in your face. And I think I'm happy with that. Or maybe I should try a different color. Let me try this blue plastic and see how that one looks. Just try different things until you like are happy with it. Okay, I don't really like that one. Let me try this dark gray. Maybe black. Let's just stick with the green. That's okay. So I'm gonna stick to the green. Change the scale again. And then you can change the roughness of the material. You can make it more metallic if you wanted to. It's gonna reflect more if you do that. The normals, you can play with the normals, and it's either gonna make it darker or brighter. The base color you can change, so like you can play with the tonality of the colors. And it depends on how the material reads the colors. It's gonna do that. Right now I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. Oops, oh, too early for this. Okay, so let me actually, I'm gonna apply the material again because I don't like the color that it came out. So I'm just gonna apply it one more time so I get the original. So if you do something you don't like, just grab another material, put it, and then just kind of change it again. So then you get the original material back. So okay, cool. So I'm done with my materiality now. I can escape, press escape. And then now I want to now, let's talk about scatter and vegetation and how we're going to change the vegetation within each of these like patches of land that I have created here. So The first tool that we're going to use is the automatic scatter. That it's one of the best ones here in the program, actually, because it gives you a bunch of different patterns and stuff. So, well, before we do this, actually, before we do this, now that have gotten to this point, our file is really not heavy right now. So what I want to do, I want to save my file immediately. I'm going to save a file. I'm going to do a save as. I'm going to create a new folder for it. Call it tutorial massing file, and then I'm going to call the file just massing. However you want to call your file, put it inside that folder you created, save it. Now you're going to have to be saving a lot in this program. Make sure that you're always saving, because if something crashes, your computer just goes crazy, then you're going to lose your work. So please just be saving every 10-15 minutes. Just click the save button. It doesn't hurt to do that. Just good practice. So then in case it crashes, you don't lose an hour of work, but maybe 5 or 10 minutes that can be done very easily. So again, just always keep saving, and I will keep reminding and repeating in the video. So now what I want to do, I'm going to do the scatter. Now that I saved, I'm going to do the scatter. I'm going to go to add scatter. I'm going to go to well, I can open it both two ways. I can either go here or open it here and it comes out, or I can go to the asset folder and open it. So it doesn't really matter how you do it. You're going to get to the same destination. So now I'm going to pick one of these scatters that I find appealing. So again, all depends what you like. Let me try this one here. This flower garden combo. It looks pretty, so I'm going to try that. It's going to tell me to select a material. So this is the material I'm going to select right here. Then it's going to tell me to create the scatter area. And then you're going to see on the right that it's going to start to load. Give it a second. Wait for it to come out. Don't touch anything. Make sure you have no other programs open. Again, just make sure that if you are linking the model, then you should have Rhino open only. But in terms of any browsers or anything like that, make sure that nothing is open. So depending how heavy that package of vegetation is, it depends how long it's going to take. So right now it's just going to be loading. Just let it load and be patient with it. Okay, so this one took about like 2 minutes to put it in. So I just kind of left it alone, and then it went in and loaded. Now, it does have a lot of detail. So like there's a lot of, that's probably why it took so long, because there's like pebbles. So then these pebbles take forever. Some of the other packages and families don't have these type of assets. So this one does have a lot of organization, different stuff. So that's why you can see why it's so heavy. So again, it just depends. Some of them load quicker, some of them take longer. So let me just move my asset folder out of the way for a second. Now you can see that every time I move the camera, things disappear, right? And that's something that we talked about last time. To fix that, we're gonna go up here to the 3 little dashes. We're gonna go into preferences, then we're gonna go into rendering, and then we're gonna go into call distance, and we're gonna probably type like 200, for example, and then you're gonna see how now I can see everything, right? So it just depends how much information the render you're seeing. So again, I'm just gonna keep it at 200 for now. I'm probably not gonna do like such a far render. So yeah, this family specifically is very heavy, because even my screen is a bit jaggery. So it's probably what these pebbles are. So if I were to hide those pebbles, for example, just gonna hide them right here. So if you press the little 3 dots, you can hide stuff. There's a lot of them. So I'm gonna just hide all of them and see if this makes my window goes faster. And indeed it does. I already took a lot of them out. Let me see this one. Let me take those out. Take these out. As you can see now, I have no pebbles. Well, some of them, but not a lot of them. I just probably need a few, not all. Maybe for the scene, I'll turn them on when I'm rendering, so then I can get all the detail. But for now, I don't really need it, because I'm gonna be moving around the model. So like, and they're just pebbles. So you already know that one is called Flower Garden Combo 17. Be aware that it is heavy. So if you don't have a super powerful computer, I would not suggest to use it. Or if you do it, it might take a while, and then you can just hide the stuff you don't need. Okay. Now I'm gonna do the scatter for the other surface. But what I want to do, I'm gonna just hide the other one, so my model is not like super heavy, and then I'm able to move the model more freely. I'm gonna save my file because that other one took a long time to come in. I don't want to lose it in case it crashes, so I'm just gonna save my project. And then now I'm gonna grab my scatter. I'm gonna put add a scatter, or you well, either way, like just go here and then gives you the setting. I'm gonna pick another one. Let's see. This one looks nice. Let me just try that one here. Then I'm gonna create, do the same process, and then it's gonna load. And now this one should be pretty quick. There you go. So this one was quicker, has less information, about 10 seconds to put it in, or less than that. And then I have my other scatter here. So, and then if I wanted to see how they are looking together, I can click the other one, open it, and see what's happening. So now, if you want it, for example, like you're like, oh, like I want to add more plants or I want to add more stuff to my specific scatter, you can, and I'll show you how to do that. This one it is kind of nice because it's not secluded completely, and it gives you like open paths, which is cool. So then when you do a scene, you can be very specific in how you add plants and how you add um what do you call it? How do you add more assets into the scene? So this one is a little more secluded, so it's more hidden. So it's like it has more plants in terms of the area. So now that I have that, I'm gonna since I'm probably not gonna see my last patch of land. I'm probably gonna leave that just like that because unless I need it later, I'll add it. But since I'm probably not gonna do a render on that side. I'm gonna leave it just like that so I don't take a lot of computing memory from my computer. I'm gonna hide. Uh, I'm gonna keep this scatter on. I'm gonna hide the other one. Now I'm gonna show you how to add to the same scatter another family, another asset of plants. So right now you have your scatter stuff here. This is if I click on it, you have to be on the actual layer of that. You can see how many stuff there are here. I'm gonna just pick a group, any of them. I'm gonna just go to the first one, click add asset. I'm gonna go to nature, and then I might pick something like a bush, like a red bush maybe. Okay. So let's see, flowering herbs. Maybe these red ones. So I'm gonna click on that. If I click it one more time because I downloaded it, they're gonna come out here. So it's called Impatience Wall. They're right here. So you're gonna see how they pop in. If I click on it, I can scale it so I can make them bigger if I want to. So if I put like 150, then they're gonna get bigger, right? You can see how then in the scene they started to get bigger. I can also have more of them. So if I put like 200, for example, they're gonna start to appear more, right? And depending on the area they are at, um, then if I press right on the top. So if you have, so each of the families has a name on the top. If you click on that name, then you can change the distribution and density of how many there are right now. So right now the density is at 2,000. So let's say that I put that at 1, for example, just to give you an exaggerated example, then you're barely gonna see any, right? They're gonna be completely like out. So if I put the density, and obviously that density is working for the entire group. So my original density was 2,265. If I bring that back, it's going to be loading. Then it's going to read the entire family and it's going to do it. The density is going to move based on how the family is working. Now, if I go to transform and I play with the seed is really cool because it gives you different placements of everything. And you'll see now. And obviously it's gonna affect the family itself. So let me just do like a seed 50. Like these are all randomized how they look, so you can see how everything starts to move just in the same within the same rotation. You can do random offsets that they just kind of move the plants little by little next to each other, so you can see how they change direction. You can do random scaling to make it higher, meaning that there's gonna be some bigger ones than other ones, and then it's gonna make it more like intuitive in terms of the sizes of the plants itself. Okay. Maybe let's add one more. So each of these families has a quadrant. So if I go to this family, this quadrant is different. So this is where the pebbles are, right? So that's a fact. So if I were to add a plant here, then a plant is going to come out where these pebbles are, and I'll do it so you guys can see. So I'm going to add an asset, and again, this one I added it to this family. So the family of this patches, that's where these red plants come out. If I were to add this red plant in this family, which is where the pebbles were or are some of the plants are going to come out here. So I'm going to add another plant, maybe this pink one, for example. I'm going to download it. I'm going to click it since I'm already in that family. Or I'm just going to put add assets. So make sure this blue thing is on. I'm going to click it. And then you're going to see it right here. And then I'm going to hit Gnosis. So it's loading right now. So you're going to see now how it pops into that area. So give it a second. And this is just how to get the automatic scatter and then start like editing even more. It's almost doing your own scatter, but adding and taking away from the one that you picked. So you don't have to like, if you don't like something from that scatter that D5 gives you, then you can hide things, you can add things, and then you can kind of just kind of make it your own scatter at that point. So, okay. And there we go. So it was a lot because the pebbles one, then it becomes super, it becomes like super, 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 super dense, right? So I probably want less. So it's a lot of pinks right now. So I'm probably gonna put this at like 20 maybe, and let's see what happens. And as you can see, as I've been doing this, I'm not moving the window. I'm not like playing around with the screen. I'm just literally playing with numbers like that. I'm not using the computing power of the computer that much, and I'm just focusing in just this. I'll just pick a view where you can see everything, and you can kind of gauge sizes, scale, and then just kind of play it until you're happy, and then just start moving the screen again. So um, since this is a heavy scatter, then obviously it does take a little bit longer than usual. So that's why for me at least it's taking a couple more seconds than the normal if it were to be a more simple scatter. So it now gave me less plants. Let's see how it's looking. Okay, that's a bit better. I can also change the scale though. If I click it, I can make them a little tiny. So I'm gonna say 75. And it might take another hot second again. Okay. So it took about like 30 seconds. So in average, if something's heavy, it's gonna take about that much. Okay, so I think I'm more happy with this height. It was too much before, so I'm gonna click outside of the geometry so that I can start to see how it looks. So now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to now do the same thing on the other one, and we're gonna do this just to get more practice on how to do this. So I'm gonna turn that scatter off. I'm gonna turn this scatter on. This one is way simpler and it's more. So as you can see, my screen is super super nicely. It flows nicely. So again, it just depends on the scatter and how much information it has. So I want to get some color on this one. So and also I want to make this like bubbly ones. I want to make them a little smaller. So I'm gonna go here, but click on it again. Click on it. Scale is 182. I'm gonna do like 130 or one. Let's do 150. See what happens. And you see how quick that was. That was less than 5 seconds. So again, like please take your time, like really have a good eye for this. Don't just put the scatter and like call it a day. Like try to make it your own in terms of play with the tools so you know how to work them and understand how they function. And trust me, you're gonna then be able to customize more stuff in your own way. So now what I want to do, I want to press the scatter. I want to go and add another asset. I'm gonna go right here, add asset. And let's pick another flower, like maybe something. Since I did something pink, let's pick something complementary and do something like it can even be as uh, less pink, maybe. Yeah, let's do this one. This one doesn't seem bad. So again, click it, download it, click it again, then it should be added immediately. So it's called Fluxu Volata, and it should be right here. So okay, so I'm gonna put my asset bar on the side. So these should be right here. So they're very tiny actually. Interesting. So I obviously I can change that. So naturally they are tiny, but it doesn't really matter. You can do as you please. So we're gonna make them bigger. We're gonna make them. Let's try double of that, 200, and see how big they get. Okay, so I guess naturally they're very very tiny. So maybe we want to pick another one. So I'm gonna just hide it, take it out, and then I'm gonna add another one instead. That might be a little bit bigger. So let's see. Mm, we added pink, and there's a lot of options here, obviously. So uh, let's try this one. Okay, so I'm gonna click it. It's gonna be added right here, as you can see. Take my content out. Then it's loading. Then okay, cool. So these ones are bigger, so I can definitely work with this, like purple. Um, these are nice. So then I get like some areas that are covered, some areas that are not. So it starts to become more natural. So when I look at it, it becomes more like a pattern everywhere. So that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna stick with that. Or if you want to add something else, obviously go and add something else. Like just make sure that's on. So let's say I want to add something else, like these like reddish ones. I click on them. I look for the name, make sure that it's there. Then I'm gonna wait for it to load. I can don't exit the asset folder until you know that's there. Now that I know that's there, I'm gonna exit it. These are kind of nice actually, very flimsy, kind of magical looking. Um, I don't mind the way they look at all, so I'm gonna leave that in there like that. So now that I have my two scatters, I'm gonna see how they look together. See if I need more resolution. Cool. So I'm getting a bunch of nice little colors everywhere. So that looks starts to look like a magical land. Um, let's say that you don't want any flowers or any type of vegetation going through your project, then I would suggest that you map out another surface that just you can even design it to just be kind of like a shape where maybe you can start to put like furniture and stuff like that around your massing to just kind of captivate the space if you wanted to. For me, I just wanted to be all nature, so that's why I left it like that. But again, if you have a different surface, then then the grass wouldn't go on it unless you put a scatter in there. Now I want to talk about now we're gonna move into trees. So maybe I want some trees here and I want to create my own scatter from scratch. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to just hide these two, just again, for computing power and better workflow. I'm going to just create a new scatter. So now to do a regular scatter, we're going to go to add scatter. We're going to go to select material. Don't do select model. If you do select model, what's going to happen is that when I put the scatter in, it's going to do it to the entire screen. So again, don't do that. Just do select material and then select the side that you want to put the trees in. So I'm going to put it on this one first. I'm going to create. Now it's going to create a scatter, and then it's going to give me this blue um, density of bar. That's like how many trees are going to be put at the beginning of it. I haven't found out how to change this setting from the beginning, and I've done the research. I can't seem to find something. So I'm going to just create the asset, and then I'm just going to minimize it by using the density that we did before. So I'm going to add an asset. I'm going to go to a nice tree. I'm going to go to flower and tree. Let's see what we got over here. Let's pick something like, let's see. It's a nice big tree that's flowering. Okay, maybe we pick something else. These are bigger trees. Maybe something yellow. And obviously look at the scale so you can see how big the trees are. Obviously you can change the scale of it as you are in the file later on. So let me go back to flower and the flowering trees. I do like these a lot. So let's just select this one as an example. Then it's gonna add it. Now you're gonna see a bunch of trees. That's okay. That's gonna happen. Your computer's not gonna blow up. Don't worry about it. What we want to do is that we're gonna go on the area. Here we're gonna click the area. And then you see how the density says 100 points by 100 meters square. We're gonna do like 20 meter squares and see what happens. It's gonna be way less. Okay, so if I do maybe 1 meter square, then there you go. Now we start to get less trees. So again, play with that and see what density of trees you want. Obviously, I'm going to teach you guys how to remove these trees within the scatter because you can't just click them and delete them. You have to do an extra step for that. So for now, first, I'm going to figure out my heights. So I'm going to go back to my tree. I'm going to click it and I'm going to scale it up. I'm going to do 200. See doubles. See how they look bigger. I'm going to do a little bit bigger than that. I'm going to do 250. And obviously, once you make them bigger, then there's more volume in the scene. So then I want to go back to my area and maybe minimize this to like 0.2 and see what happens to have less of them. Or maybe do 0.4. Okay. So 0.4 doesn't seem that bad because I want to think about the scene that I want to build. I'm thinking more of a scene like looking at the project from like this area. So I want to see how the streets are looking. Let me make them. Let's see if I make them a little bit bigger. So let me go 300. Okay, that's not a huge change. Let me do 500. Interesting. Okay, so now my trees are bigger now. Okay, cool. I think that's kind of like what I want. And obviously, it depends on the type of family of tree that you're choosing. Some of them are already kind of big, so you don't have to do what I'm doing. But again, just play with that to see how much you want. So I'm going to go back to the area. I'm going to put the density in 2.2, even 0.1. And let me see how it looks from afar out. Play with the seed. So the seed is a really good one, the one I showed you guys. So if I go to transform in the same area folder, I'm going to click the seed and put 2. It changes the number, so I can just kind of play with these and just kind of move them around until maybe I get something that I want. Like that, I don't have to delete a tree, but if it comes to deleting, I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to keep moving the seed and just literally click as many random numbers as you want. If you're not happy, just go back to 0 to the one that you had. You can do so. I mean, there's so many possibilities because basically the way the seed is working is just placing them in these little blue squares randomly all at once. So, and it's very randomized. So like you can't really like tell. Maybe I'm going to add more though. I'm going to make my density higher. If I do 0.2, okay. And then if I do my seed at 2, okay, that one was not bad. So again, maybe you guys lucky sometimes you don't. So again, like just play with it. Now, I don't mind this. I think this is good for like a scene. So I'm going to now maybe I want to get rid of this tree here. So what I want to do is that I want to click the scatter, right? And then you're going to see something here that's called effects. I'm going to put add effect and I'm going to do brush cull. So when I do brush cull, it's basically going to let me delete any of these trees with this little brush. So if I click on the tree, gone completely. So and then I can remove more trees if I want to. So I think like I removed the other one by accident. So I'm gonna Control Z. I don't want to remove the other one. I just want to remove one. Oh, it looks like it removes 2 at the same time. Maybe sometimes that happens. I'll probably add another tree there manually later on, so it's okay. I'm going to remove this one inside the model that I don't like. Remove that. And then let me see if I see it from the bottom. Sometimes you can see it from the bottom. I think that's that one. You can just take it because I can't go inside the model. So then I'm just going to have to like do it from below through the grid. So again, like Maybe that happens, maybe that doesn't happen to you. Just it depends. Okay, cool. So then I have my trees now, and I'm kind of happy with this now. Um, if I want to add more trees, I can do it manually here, so that's okay. We'll do that. So to show you how to do that, so I'm gonna escape. Then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna put more trees in this side too. So I'm gonna add another scatter. So I'm gonna go add scatter, select material, select this one. Then I'm gonna create. Then I'm gonna pick the same tree again, just to keep it consistent. It was this one, the one I picked. I'm gonna put it at 500. Yeah, maybe make it smaller, make it bigger. It all depends. I think the density, play with that, and it's the same type of process as what I just did earlier. I'm gonna add assets, click in the tree, they're all there. Then I can get rid of the asset window. I'm gonna go click the scatter. I'm going to now go into the area. I'm gonna change the distribution to 0.1, or then, but after I do that, I'm gonna change the scale, and then I'll change my distribution again to see if I need more. You see, because once you add, if you make them bigger, then obviously they take more space. So just be mindful of that, and like, just play around with that. Maybe let me make the scale on this one at 450. So they're a little bit different in heights, and I have different variations. I think for this one, I'm not gonna play around as much as my project is more gear. So I think those are gonna leave them like that unless I want to change them later. I'll change them later. For now, I'm gonna just leave it there. Obviously, play with it as much as you want and have fun with it. These things get very, very, very addicting, as you can get so much into detail with these things. Now I'm gonna select my two scatters, put them on, and just see how my scene is looking. And I'm like, okay, that's starting to look pretty cool. Now, something I haven't done is save. So please save your file right now. Save, save, save. Now that I have saved my file, I can now either start adding other stuff into the scene, or I can start to create my scene. So first, let's pick the scene. So to create the scene, you're going to go right here. You're going to create scene from the camera view that you want. And obviously, we can just change it after. So I'm just going to create one, so I already have it. So let's see, like, I'm going to kind of go around like here like this. I'm going to go in my camera right here. I'm going to put it in 2-point perspective. So then it's a true perspective of the render. Then I'm going to either zoom in my camera or zoom out, like up to like the vibe that you want to give. So I'll probably do it like here, like this. Okay, so now since I moved this camera and I moved back and forth on it, and I changed my camera, I have to update my scene. I have to do this because if I were to now click on this to take me back to my original view, it's going to take away all the changes I just did. So I'm going to update the scene. Always update your scenes for anything, for environment changes, for anything, update the scene. Because if you, for some reason, I went like this, I'm like, oh, I moved it, but then I want to go back. If you did some changes on the lighting in the other way that you moved it, and you don't update your scene, then you're going to lose all your progress. So again, like, just get comfortable with that and just make sure you're always updating scene. Again, to do the camera stuff. Oops, I changed my view by accident. Just keep it up 2 points. But now you see, like, I messed up my view for some reason. If I go back, then it takes me back to the original. So that's the nice thing about updating your view, that I clicked something wrong and then I lost my view. But now I have my view, I have my stuff. And then I can start curating my scene now. So now you always base, like when you guys build scenes, build to the scene, right? So I did all the scatter and stuff just to kind of have like background info and all that good stuff, trees, and just have a little more dynamic on this. In the next part of the video, now I'm going to be showing you how to build the scene to what it is, and now understand lighting and environments. Okay, so now in this next part of the video, we're going to be setting up the scene. So right now we have a pretty basic scene. Well, not basic, but at least everything that we have done. We're gonna learn a couple new techniques to then be able to build the scene better. So now the first thing I want to ask myself as I see the scene is like, what do I need? Do I need more frames? Do I need more? Do I need different types of trees? Do I need more stuff in the ground? What do I really need? Okay, so there's different ways to do this. We're gonna now learn about the brush tool. So if we go to tools and we go to brush, we've already done the scatter. We're gonna do brush by pressing B or going right here, up to you. So I'm gonna go like here, and then I'm thinking about like, okay, so I have these patches. What do I need there? Maybe I want to put some leaves, right? Some like fallen leaves. So I'm gonna go to fallen leaves, and I'm gonna find maybe a group or a couple of them. So with the brush though, you see how you have this little square here. You have to click that for the brush. And obviously you have the radius, the density, and the sizes right in this menu. So you can control that directly there. So I'm going to select a couple of these. So I'm going to download this one, for example. I'm going to select it, download this one, select it, download this one, select it, and they can be random. Just pick some good ones. Download this one, selected. Okay, so now I have 4 of them. And then if I put the radius up, then you can see how my brush changes. But also if I press parentheses, bracket parentheses, if I press the right bracket, it goes higher. If I press the left bracket, it goes lower. So again, like you can either control it by here or you can control it by here. So I'm gonna now click and like just draw, literally. And then you can see how all this like leaves come out. Now, if I want to delete them, I'll press Alt, leave it press, and then I'm going to delete. Right? You can see how I'm deleting. I can also make my brush bigger by pressing Alt and the bracket. So then I have more area where I want to delete stuff. So that's to put in and delete, right? Now, my density, I think, is too high. So I want to make it lower. And then I'm going to draw again and see how they come out. So it doesn't come out so like dense. So you can see how now I start to get my leaves and I start to get my stuff and I can add more detail to that. So I'm going to put some leaves in here so you can see them pop in. So you can see how they start to pop in. Now maybe I want to add a couple different plants. So I'm going to escape, right? So then everything that I selected is deselected. And I'm going to select a couple other plants, right? And obviously I'm only building this for this scene. It's not going to put this everywhere. So that's why I'm saying like the scatter is just a first pass. And then you can get more creative and add more stuff. So I'm going to use the brush as a way to select a couple of them and start putting things in. Or if you want to be a little more direct, you can select them one by one, and we'll do that as well. For now, I'm going to go into the brush tool again because I exited. Just type it, then you're going to get the little square. And then I'm going to go and select a couple plants that I want to add. So let's see. Maybe let's select this bush, select it here. Select this one here. So if I don't have it downloaded, then it's going to download, then I do it. So let's select this little cactus over here. And then I'll have like these 3 ones. So now I'm going to go with my brush. Again, this is my radius, my density, my size of plants. So I'm going to go and draw. So as you can see, like now it's drawing little cactuses and stuff everywhere. Now, I don't really like the size of them, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make the size bigger. I'm going to make the size of these guys bigger. So as you can see now, they pop everywhere because I'm kind of drawing it. So, and then more of these little plants are going to come out. Okay, so now I kind of did it a little bit random. I don't like the placement of that, so I'm going to delete them again with Alt. I'm just going to brush with the brush, press Alt and delete. You need to leave Alt press and then left click on this to be able to delete. If not, it won't delete. Probably going to start from the back here. Just kind of work my way in. Okay, too much there. Maybe I want to put my brush smaller. Okay, I'm going to make my brush smaller. And then maybe go into like this area. Click. You can also just click instead of leaving a press. I'm going to click. and click in different areas. So then it starts to look a little more randomized and natural. Um, so get a couple here. Again, just do it to your discretion. What looks good. So I just added a couple of them. I don't need to add that many. I'm gonna delete some of the ones in the back there. Just kind of want to have a different type of vision of plants in here. Okay, I'm gonna escape. Now I want to add something else. I want to add like maybe stones or start to make it a little more organic. So I'm gonna go to stones, and obviously you don't have to add these. I'm just adding them because I want to add the stone. It's up to you. Click a cool stone. I click this one. Then once you click it and you drop it, it's gonna drop in, right? So now now that I have my stone here, my asset is right on the left side, right? So I can like do a couple things with that. So I can either move this, move it around, and like just kind of place it in the scene however I want. I can move it below the ground. I can rotate it. So like right now I'm playing with the rotating tool. Oops, it's pretty sensitive, so just go slow. I want to make this a little more fun and dynamic, so I'm gonna make this rock kind of go down. Then I'm gonna bring this down. I just kind of have it come off the ground like this, so it's not like a perfect sitting stone to make it a little more organic. Then I'm gonna press V, and I'm gonna see if I scale it what it does. So it starts to change my scene a little bit. Let me now go back to my rotating or my mover, and then maybe I wanted to just like go out the scene like that, right? And maybe I want to move it a little more back so it's not like super close to the screen, unless that's the intent. By all means, do that. Maybe I want to make it more of a secondary element or tertiary element in the render. So then I'm gonna go like this and just kind of leave it there. Now, if I want to make a copy of it easily, I can just go here, right click, and I can just duplicate. So I can duplicate it, and once you duplicate it, then automatically you get, when you go back to the screen, you get another one. So maybe let's add one like maybe here. And then this one I can rotate it. Right, so I can kind of give it a different view. And as you can see, also you can rotate at the top. So let's say that you're putting something very close to the screen and you can't really see, you can rotate here as well. So I can like kind of do it through here as well and change the numbers and rotate in, unless you can't really see the rotating tool. And then also you can change the scale on there as well. So I'm going to change the scale a little bit, make it a little bit tinier, and just kind of leave it there, right? Then I'm going to make another copy of the original one, duplicate, and then just kind of put it somewhere. And then obviously I don't use the brush for this because I want this to be a little more purposeful when where I place it. I want to make sure that I'm happy where I place it. So, oops, it did not make a copy for some reason. Let me do it again. So I made a copy of the little one. Let me make a copy of the big one. Okay, I'm gonna place it here. Okay, and then this one I'm gonna also change it so they're not the same. Maybe rotate this one, give like the more clean finish side instead of the rough side. And maybe rotate it more vertical, so then it changes kind of like the shape of the rock, and then maybe make it a little bit bigger. Not too big so it doesn't really cover the scene that much, but something like this. Okay. So then I'm starting now to play stuff and starting to like really cater and build the scene to a more customized level, right? So, and of course, like, there's way more stuff we can add. Let's see what else we got here. We can add animals, but honestly, the animals, we're going to do them in Photoshop. I'm going to show you a very good way to do it there, and they're going to be super nice through AI. So I wouldn't worry about adding animals there. Even people, you can add them in Photoshop. And I'll show you how to do that in Photoshop as well. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. In terms of furniture stuff, like you can. This is not like the type of scene that I'm going to be adding furniture or anything like that. So it's up to you to be adding furniture and how you compose the scene. Make sure it makes sense. So for me, it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to just like throw furniture here when this is all nature and plants and stuff like that. So I want to keep this cohesive and not like crazy. Now I want to start adding now more intentional plants and trees. So just for the scene specifically. So let's see. I'm gonna go back to my flowering trees. There was a tree there that I really liked. Where is it? I think it was this guy right here. I really like this tree. So I'm gonna just grab it individually, click it, and then just hover over the screen, put it, and then I'm gonna scale it up. Since it's very tiny, I'm gonna click on it, scale it. I like the tree because of the organic, the way that the trunk looks like. So I'm going to now move it to another part of the screen, not like right in the face, not like right in the center of it, but like a little more back. Let's think about the composition and where it looks the best. So let me see. So this is really sensitive. Make sure that you update your scene. But if you're having trouble doing it within the scene, then I would just like move my camera. Obviously, I have all these things going on, so like my thing might be um a little bit laggy. Hopefully not. But let me go back to my scene and then continue to move this tree to see where I get it or put it where I feel happy that it feels good. And obviously, when I'm doing this, guys, like this is like my process of designing. This is the way I do it. I'm not going quick. Obviously, we can spend hours on this, but I'm just showing you the basics so you can really get in the nitty gritty and really like create your own processes and compositions that they look nice. So I like it there. I don't mind it there. I'm gonna probably make another copy of this one same way. I showed you, right click, duplicate. Then I'm gonna put another one somewhere in the other side, like maybe in the background. It can be the same height, not trying to change it as much. And then probably make another copy. And then put this one like here. Let's see. Maybe this one. We put it here. And then when we rotate it, let's see how that looks. It's all about what makes more sense or what looks better. Let's see. Let me see how that looks. Okay, maybe it looks a bit weird in the middle there, so I'm gonna save my file. I'm making now very small changes that are very detailed, so I want to make sure I'm saving so I don't lose my progress in case this crashes. So make sure you're saving. Um, okay, I'm gonna move this a little bit more back and just kind of like make it as a background part of the scene. Okay, I kind of like that. So it's kind of starts to like tangle with the other tree. So I'm gonna leave it there. Now I'm gonna add more stuff. Start prepping my scene a little bit further. So let me go into like some other types of plants and trees and start to add a little more customized stuff. So let's see. Let's go with this yellow one. These are nice. I'm gonna click it. See how big they are. Okay, so I can make them a little bit bigger actually. So I'm gonna place that one there. So I have one already, and then I'm gonna go into that asset. Press V to select the scale, and then I'm gonna kind of not make them that huge though, but like a little bit bigger. And I'm just gonna copy this one a couple times. duplicate, and I'll put it. And as you can see, like now I really start to break. Um, I start to break the scene a little further than just like the scatter. If you want to make a copy automatically, just do Control D. If you do Control D, then that's the shortcut to make this copy, so you don't have to be duplicating, right clicking, and doing it all the time. I can just Control D, and then I start to put them everywhere. And put a couple more. Put one here in the. One thing also, don't ever try to put stuff like in between the, like in the middle of the scene. Always like keep the middle of the scene kind of thin, so then the center of attention is the model. Always try to frame around the scene so it looks better, and then you have the hierarchy in your render. Put this one here. Okay, we got a more couple of those. I'm gonna escape. So it starts to look now a little more colorful, it starts to look nice. I'm gonna go back to my assets and let's see. There's more stuff that I want to add. So I have a lot of nature already, so I don't really have anything else I want to add, honestly. We're not adding anything of that, so I think I'm good for now, at least. So get to a point where you feel good that you added everything you wanted to add, and then move forward now to the next step. Make sure that you update your scene. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about lighting and environments and all of that. So this is the next part of the session. So it's talking now about lighting and all the settings that you can use to create lighting, and there's so many of them to think about. So the first one is the most simple one, is the geosky. So the geosky works by moving and rotating the radius of this sun study, and it gives you the time. So obviously, like, you pick a time that you want. This is a nighttime, and then you can kind of pick the time of the day that you want and just kind of go from there. So like, again, like, this is just one way. Then here you can rotate the sun in terms of the azimuth and the altitude. So I can move this around and see where I feel like I like it. If we click more, then it gives you the month, the day, and again, like longitude, latitude, and you can get super, what do you call it? You can get very creative with this. Sunlight intensities, how bright the sun is. The disk radius is how big the sun beam is. Then moonlight and anything that has to do with night is for the nighttime. So we're not gonna really be looking at that right now. They're similar. So if you have a night render, you put lights and stuff, it's gonna be the same idea. So now is the weather. So these are the clouds, as you can see in the top. They either, if I take them off, you see this the blue of the environment more blue. If I turn it on, then you see more cloud. So again, like, you can change the amount of clouds. You can take the amount of clouds. You can put the thickness of clouds. Right now, my scene is kind of bright, so you can't really see it as much. So if I were to, like, maybe have a less brighter sun or less part of the scene, you can start to see the sky better. So let me keep it here, so you can kind of see like the amount of sky. So that's a really nice one. That's like dusk. So you can see how I just changed that to 7 a.m. and the lighting is completely dramatized. So it's so different. So you see like how the amount of skies changes on the top. Less skies, more blue sky, more clouds, And the thickness of also is how thick they get, or how strong the white of the cloud are. Densities, how many of them there are there. So you can have a lot of them, or you can have not many of them. And then the height is how close they are to the ground versus the sky. So, and then the speed is, if you have this if you go back to display and you have this in dynamic, then the clouds are going to be moving. But for now, we're not going to be using that because we're not making a video. It takes out a lot from the computer to do that. So for now, we're not going to touch that. So that's the cloud. Now, this is the fog. So the fog is useful to dramatize stuff, like if you wanted to. So you can bring the fog in. So this is the amount of fog. Obviously, you can change the color of the fog too. I'm gonna just leave it white, but you can put another color. So if I bring the fog high and I put the height higher, then it starts to really creep in. And if I do the fall off high, if I do the fall off higher, the fall off is basically gonna be the setting that kind of um, collides with the model. So either collides with the model or leaves the model alone. So you can kind of play with that and see how the fall off starts to work with the model itself. If you put volume light, so the volume light is just gonna get the sun's light and it's gonna grab the fog and it's just gonna dramatize it like intensively. So you can put the scattering of that lower. If you make it lower, it's gonna get less dramatized. If you make the scattering higher, then obviously it's gonna change. But right now, if I put the fog down, obviously it's less dramatic. The volume light is really cool because it does give you that dramatic look. Just be careful how you use it, so then it doesn't become very overwhelming. So again, I'm just playing with the settings so you can kind of see how they work. Um, the more high I put, the more closer the fog gets to my camera. The less I put, the less I see. So play with these settings and like really understand them further. Um, Now for the precipitation, we're not gonna do the wind. I'm gonna take the fog out for now. The wind is just for like simulation in terms of like when you do the video, how much the trees are moving, the vegetation, but we're not doing that right now. Now for precipitation. So right now I have it on rain. So it's raining, right? So this bar you can control how much it rains, how much it doesn't rain, or if it snows. Now I have it in rain. I have the strength at 0.5. If I put the puddles higher, then the scene's gonna start to get more wet. As you can see, the material starts to get wet. I get to the floor and the ground to be more wet, right? And if I put the strength of the rain down, that means I'm barely gonna get any rain when the scene starts to behave. So right now the rain is gonna disappear because I put it at 0, and then I'm just gonna see the puddles. So you can also do it like that, where you have no rain and just puddles, or you can have the strength of the rain be really high and then it's gonna start doing a lot of rain, right? So it all depends what you're looking for. And then obviously if I turn it this way, it's gonna start to snow. And the same thing with the puddles of snow is the same idea, the strength of it. And then the raindrop transparency, if I put it at 0, then it's not going to be transparent. If I put it at 1, it's going to be more transparent. So it all depends. And then the snowflake size is how big the raindrops are or the snowdrops are. And you can play with that. Milky Way is just for like a night render to see the stars, basically. It's not that great, honestly. I mean, if I turn it on right now, I'm not going to see it because I don't have a night render time, but you can try. You can just put the time at nighttime and then you can do it. So you see it loaded. So sometimes it takes a minute to load, but that's the snow. So that's how the snow particles, I can make them smaller. And if I make them smaller, these particles now are going to be way, way, way tinier, not as big as this. So you can play with that if you wanted to make a snow render scene. So I mean, part of the assignment is to make different types of environments. So think about how dramatic you want to make the scenes and what type of precipitations if you want to use, if none, or foggy, So just think about that and get creative with it. So right now I'm not gonna put in a precipitation. I'm gonna turn that off for now. It does take a lot of computing power to have precipitation on, so just you can set it and then turn it on whenever you need it, and then go from there. Okay, so that's the geo sky. The customize, so custom works a little bit different in terms of you can do custom daytime or custom nighttime. Basically, the way it works is that in geo sky, for example, like if I go to nighttime, there's like a light that is illuminating the model already from the sky. If I go to custom and I turn this off, then it goes to like complete black. Like the scene goes black completely because there's no lighting or anything being exposed. Okay, so if I do custom day, then the lighting is gonna start to come out. Same idea, sun intensity. So right now it's at 1, I can put that lower. Then I can change the sun radius, disk radius. I can change the altitude of how the sun is hitting, the azimuth of where the sun is pointing at. Um, and then obviously the clouds and all that good stuff. So again, that's like for custom if you want to use this setting. This is the one that I use the least actually. I'll probably either use Geosky depending, but the one I use the most is HDRI. So HDRI, I really like it because like you can get some really cool environments, and there's three ways to do this to get your HDRI to look really good. So the first one is by obviously going to your assets, then going into HDRI and clicking one from the library here. So I'm gonna click, let's say, this one, or let's see, there's a lot of them here. So maybe this one, partly sunny. Double click it, it's gonna come out. Obviously, the lighting works different. If you want another one, download it. I'm gonna download this one. Double click it so you can see. This one's a little bit different. So as you can see, like the HDRI tones down the image a little bit more, and it's not as the lighting is not as crazy, but we can get really intricate with the lighting and make it look really good. So right now the lighting is zero point 0.5 in terms of the background, so I can either bring that down or up. I'm gonna keep it a zero point 0.5 for now. I can rotate the sun of the HDRI, so as you can see, there is a sun, but it's working within the HDRI image. As you can see in the background here, you can see how that's the background image of the HDRI. So like you can rotate it, or then later if you don't like that, we can Photoshop it, or we can use a different HDRI. It doesn't really matter. This is the temperature, so like we can go more yellow, and you can see how the scene turns yellow, or you can go more blue, and the scene is gonna be a little more blue tone. So I'm gonna keep it just kind of how I have it there. This setting right here, skylight only, you can just leave it. You don't have to change that. If I want to put the sun on here on top of the HDRI, I can. And I can either follow the HDRI, or I can make a customized sun pattern. So um, it's up to you to do that. So if I follow the HDRI, then I'm just rotating and using the same sun that I just added to the HDR, so you can see how it's more a little more intensified. And then I can put this on intensity, make it higher or make it lower, same sun disk, and then the temperature. If I do custom, then obviously now I can change the altitude um and the rotation of the sun. So it's not working with the HDRI, even though we do have the HDRI in the background. The sun now is a complete different entity. So now this sun is not the HDRI, it's one that I'm controlling from scratch completely. So that's kind of like the way that works. And then obviously you have the weather below. So that's one way to do the HDRI. The other way to do the HDRI is to do AI atmosphere match. So this one is really good, and I really like it because what we can do is that we can snap a current view of this. And before I do that, actually, I want to update my scene because I have been changing a lot of stuff. If I wanted to keep this specifically, then I can keep it. Before I show you this one, actually, before I show you the AI atmosphere, I want to show you the other tool, which is the studio tool. So when you go to the studio tool right on the top right here, you're going to go into D5 curated. So now what this is going to give you is going to give you a bunch of environments that D5 professionals have curated for the program. And then they have a lot of different scenes, right? So for example, if I click this one, it's going to load here, and I can edit it the same way that I've edited the other ones. Just give it a second. So now I download it and then it add it. So then this is the HDRI for this. These are really good because they have been created and done specifically for a specific scene, and they just have so many of them. So I encourage you guys to like go through these as a starting point, because then you can even fix it even further, because you might get something that you really like and it looks very good. I would do this as a starting point instead of from scratch, but it's up to you though. You can like start from scratch and do it the way that I showed you earlier. But I love these because there's so many cool ones, and like the scenes are so curated to something specifically that like I can try 4, 5, or 6 of them and see which one I like the most or I'm happy with the most, and then I can go from there, you know? This one that I really like, I think it's this one, the exterior dawn. Sometimes it might say that, and it might give you an error, so I would just double click the environment. I'm gonna do it again. Don't worry about that. Let's see. So again, I'm just double clicking on some of these so you can kind of see what the different environments that you get. So like that's why I really like HDRI, because it gives you very, very cool lighting and very, very cool specific to a specific environment. So this one's like dusky. So as you can see, it's more mysterious. It's more, but obviously I can do more work to this to be able to make it look even better, right? So that's one way. So I can go here and then I can just start to play with it. I can start to play with this. This has fog already, so it comes with already some type of settings. So I can change the rotation of the sun, and you can see how like this one specifically does have the sun, so I'm getting this like crazy beam rays of sun that looks very cool. Like I can, it's extremely dramatic. It's still following the HDRI though, but it does look very cool in terms of. I can also flip the sun actually. If I go here, it flips it to the other side. So then when I'm rotating, it's a different lighting, you know. So and like getting this like dramatic lighting that then starts to hit the model in a more intense way. Um, so yes, so again, sun intensity, you can play with all these in terms of how the HDRI is being affected. And obviously in this one specific, it does have fog, so you can change that. It does have the volumetric lighting. That's why the sun is that way. If I were to take it off, then it doesn't do that. If I do it, then you can see the rays beams of the sun. So that's the other way that you can start to get your lighting and then work from a specific point. Now, the last way it will be the atmosphere match. And this one's really cool because what it does, it basically grabs an image just the same way that we were doing the curated ones, but this grabs like different types of images that you can grab from even here. And then it gives you a specific environment look that you can then edit. So for starters, I guess I'm just going to pick any of these, or I can just randomize image and I can just get more images until I get something. It's very tiny though, so like just kind of like if you see something bright, dark, depending what you want to look for, then just click on one of them. Let me click this one. So this is like vegetated scene. I'm going to generate it. So click the image, generate, then it's just going to generate the style. So the style is being migrated. Obviously, update your scene if you're going to keep that style after it's done, so then you don't lose it. The next way to do this is also to bring your own image in, your own reference image. And I would share a couple websites where you can get some really cool renders that you like in terms of like ambience and atmosphere. So you can like also use them and test them to see if you want to do that. That's a cool thing about the AI atmosphere match. Okay, so then it matched this view. So then you can either put the strength at 0. Obviously, it's less intense. And then you put it at the top so it can really mimic the image. But I usually keep it like a 40. That's just 40, 30. That's the way I keep it. So then I'm going to close this. And then here, I'm going to kind of treat it the same way as I was treating the other images. I can kind of like go up, move around. I can change the background, make it brighter, darker, like the sky. I can move the sun around to see what I like. So again, like this is all being calculated by the AI matching tool of the sun itself. My temperature is a blue, so I can change to either more yellow or I can just leave it at blue, whatever I decide. Then I can also bring the sun in. So if I bring the sun in, then I get my own sun again. And then I can either follow the HDRI sun or I can customize it. Again, like same idea, moving the altitude, moving the longitude, the azimuth, and playing with those settings itself. So I will play with this until you are happy with something that you like. Take your time with it. Don't rush it. Just learn all the tools, play with them. The more you play with them, the better, more familiar you're going to get. Now, the other way that I was saying, you do the same thing. Then you go into you reset the view. Sorry, you exit this. I'm going to update my scene just in case. I'm going to click AI matched. Then I'm going to randomize again this so I can clear the cache on the view. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to bring an image that I liked from this website called 6 and 5. So I'm going to bring it in. It's going to load in, or maybe clicking better. Sometimes it works better this way. I'm going to go into the folder where I have my stuff, which is this one actually. I'm going to click on that image, and that's the image that I have. So like, for example, I grabbed that image from this website, and I'll open it now. I will send you guys a couple links. as the semester goes, so you can kind of take a look at them. This is the website that I use, 6 and 5, and they have really cool images, like super animated stuff. Like you could have, they're the ones that make the windows. If you haven't seen this window background family renders, they're the ones that do that. So they have really beautiful images, like very atmospheric. Like you can really, like, if I want to download this one, for example, I can click it. I'll go to this image. Oh, that's not the one. So let me go back. Oops, too much. I'm gonna just exit out of that. I'm gonna right click on this. I'm gonna save this image as, and then I'm gonna save it in the folder that I want. I'm gonna press save, and then I'm gonna come back in here. Let's try this one, see what it gives me. So let's generate. So that's a cool thing about this style, and I really like this one a lot. It's probably my favorite one because I can really find an image that I like online, and I can really try to replicate that type of style, and then it will give me something very, very cool. So let's wait until they generate, see what we get, and then we can also try the other one that I put. And if I don't like it, then I'll keep this one. So it depends which one. And you can have more images. Try as many as you want. And this can also be a starting point too. I'm just kind of showing you all the tools so you know all the avenues that you can go through to have lighting. So this one's pastel. It's like very pastel. I really like this type of view. It starts to give me a little more, again, pastel color. So that's why the view is something that I'm appealed to. But again, if I don't like that, I can just random search, or I can just delete this, and I can bring the one that I just downloaded with you guys. Let me see how it looks like. So this guy, this yellow one, and I'm gonna generate and see what I get. Again, just have a couple of them. Be picky with it. Try it, change it, because maybe you can use them for different types of views, right? For the assignment specifically, you guys are doing 3 views. It can either be the same view with different environments and you can change it up, or you can have 2 views that are the same with the different environments and one different one, or you can have 3 different views. Like I'll leave that up to you. 3 different views, it starts to become super interesting because then you cater to each of the scenes, and the more you practice that, the better you're gonna get. So I recommend you do 3 scenes, but just since it's your first time, like if you do the same scene in a different environment, that's still good. So again, so this was a little more yellow, and it's not bad. I still like the other one more though, so I am gonna go back. I'm gonna take this one out. I'm gonna bring my other one in, the pink one, and I'm gonna use that one instead. This one here. So I like that one a lot, so I'm just gonna go back to it. So before you commit to editing, just like try them before you edit anything, because then you lose the progress. So I'll just put them in, try it. If you like the beginnings of the process, then do it. If not, then just continue changing and rotating images to see which one you like the most. So let's have this one as a beginning standard, and that's where I'm gonna go from as for the next part of the assignment, which is to go into Photoshop. But first, I'm gonna do all the rendering, AI post-processing, all that good stuff. So now that I have my beginning scene, I'm gonna turn that off. Then I'm gonna just play with some of the settings here to see what I like, what I don't like. Do I want this brighter? Do I want this darker? So I'm just gonna play with this really quick and just kind of give me a gouge of like something that I'm interested in and I like. So change the background. So I want the sky bigger, smaller. I'm gonna rotate the sun. See what I get. Usually don't ever try to have like the sun directly out from the front. Like this is dramatic. I'm getting light from here, but then this is dark. Since this is a really big part of the scene, you don't want it to be so dark. So obviously just like make sure that the dark parts are like the ones that are not that important. Like I would say a balance where like here I'm getting shadows, I'm getting some lighting. Like this is not a bad view because I'm getting shadows and lights from all angles. I can change the temperature here, so make it a little bit more yellow or more blue. It all depends on how the HDR is reading. If I click the sun, then obviously I'm gonna get more intensified. So maybe if I do this like a 0.2, I get this less tense, or I'm sorry, less intense. And then I can either follow the HDRI or I can customize it. So I can move the sun in a different way. So then I get more lighting in if I wanted to do that. So I can play with that and see if I like that. If not, I can just leave it on the original with the customize with the HDRI. So it's not really doing much for me, honestly. So I'm just gonna follow HDRI. I'm getting better results that way, at least for my taste. Again, play with these. You never know what they do, so just play with them. Sometimes they work, sometimes they do. Let me play with my fog. See if I do something with my fog. So it's really really foggy right now. If I do volumetric lighting, then the fog goes away, right? Because it's now playing with the lighting of the scene. If I put the fog down, it's gonna get obviously less. If I put the height, it's gonna be obviously less. So the start distance is where the fog begins, where the fog ends. So um, if the fog is really not doing much for me, then I don't really need to use it. I mean, if I change the color, then it's gonna be like a red fog. So you see, like you can really like get creative with these. Like if you want to do this like a very cool like synthetic nature fog environment, you can. I encourage you to explore and get creative with this and get funky with it. Again, this is not like something that's gonna be like a real thing for a client. This is you learning a program, so I will take it like that. If I put the volumetric light though, it does look better because then the light starts bouncing more on the material, so then it starts to give me more material. I think I'm not gonna do the fog though. I'm gonna keep it like this. For the precipitation, I don't know. Let's see. Do I want to do rain? Not really. But I probably will do the strength of the rain at zero. So then I don't get any rain. And if I wanted to do a puddle, I could to make it look wet. Let's see. Sometimes if you create a new scene, so to create a new scene is right here, by the way. So if you click here for a new scene, because you're gonna then make another one with the same environment or different environment, it's very important to know that. So now I created my scene. I'm gonna update my scene. I haven't done that. I'm gonna update my scene. Please do. I'm gonna save my file just now. Save. So after I save this file, so after I save the file, this is my other scene. For example, like let's say that I'm like, okay, I want to take a break from this one. I want to go to this one, and I want to add a different lighting to that. Then I am. Then I can go here, or I can do the other way, the atmosphere lighting, or we can go to the studio perfected lightings here, and I can just click one, put it on it, so we can kind of differentiate the view, and then boom, that's my other lighting, for example, that I can curate. Don't really like that one. It's too bright. Okay, that's a more dusky time, so maybe this one with exterior fog might be better. So I'm gonna just kind of exit a lot, and then now this is my second scene, and I'm gonna update it. Make sure it's updated because now I go to my first one, and it goes to my original settings. And if I go to my second one, it goes to my original settings. So now it takes a second, but there it is. Usually when you do that and you have like a puddle or something, it's gonna work better because the scene already loaded. So you can also do that to like create other scenes. So now if I want to create another scene, I'm gonna add another scene to have my three, and then the other one I want to change the camera. Then I'm gonna rotate the camera, put it somewhere I want. Maybe I want to put it from the water from the other side so I can get some other water. Let's see. So it can be something like where the project is being hidden, and you can really curate this, right? If I were to do it like this, you can pick the best side. If you don't have water, that's okay. So I can pick like a really nice obscure area that is like from the other side of the model. I can probably remove that tree, but now what I want to do, I want to update the scene. So once I update it, now my view saved. And now I'll do the same. I'll go into my studio, or again, I can go my geo, for example, my geo lighting, and then it'll be completely different. Like it's gonna give me something completely different from what I had. But again, I really like to use this. This is the one I use the most. Let me go to maybe this one, Overcast. And there's some really beautiful ones in here that they have curated. So that's why I like to use this a lot. Double click on it. And then boom, there's the scene. See, so it's like it went from that bright thing to now this is that is way nicer, and I can get something really cool out of it. So that's my third scene. So I have my three scenes. I'm not gonna be exporting all of them. I'm just gonna be rendering one. The first one that we have been working on, which is the one I curated the scene to, the one that I kind of composed everything together. Um, so now that I'm past all of that and I already have what I need, now I'm gonna render. So before you render, save your file. That's one thing. Make sure you save before you render, and I'll explain why. So you need to save before you render because when you to be able to do the and this is just weird thing about D5 is that when you go through the AI pass, which is the one that we're gonna do after we render the passes, it needs to find a location for the file. So then we need to save before we do so. So then it finds the path. So to start to render, we're gonna go to image here, little camera on the top right. So then I would recommend to do a 4K. It does it really quick. The problem I was having in class was that I was doing Zoom, so then it was being very slow. I will keep it the original size, so then you're able to cut the image however you want when you do your layout in InDesign. So I'm gonna click my channels, but then when I go in the channels, I'm gonna go into more settings, and I'm just gonna take these out. Reflection, transparent. I'm just gonna keep these. These are probably the most important ones. So I mean, if you want to do all of them, by all means do it. I'm just saying these are the ones that I will use for if I were to put it in Photoshop, so which we are. So um, then I'm gonna just click render after that. So when I click render, it's gonna tell me where to save them. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my project folder. Then I'm gonna create a folder that says renders. And then when I click on that, I'm just gonna call that scene one, for example, save. And then it's gonna take, like it depends how much detail you have in the scene. For me, last time in class took me 3 minutes, but again, that was because of Zoom. Let's see how long it takes this time. Since I'm not really streaming, let's see how long this will take. Okay, so it took 2 minutes for me. Obviously, I feel like part of why it took 2 minutes is because of the pebbles thing that I have here, so that's probably why it took longer. If you have a more less complicated scattered throughout, it might take less time, so it all depends. Now, when you're done and it says render complete, you need to have these three settings here. If you do not have this, that means that you did not save before. So please pay close attention to in the video. If you don't have this, go back before you render, save your file, and then render again, and you should have this, okay? What I want to do, I want to go to AI post processing. Okay, now that I'm in the AI post processing, I'm gonna have my scene here, right? So once you open it, the scene that you render is there. So I'm just gonna double click on that. So again, double click on it, and then this is gonna come up. Now I can make this window bigger if I want to. Now there's a couple options here. I can do the AI enhancer, I can do the AI style transfer, I can do the in painting, I can do effects, or I can download the image. So the effects, I'm not gonna do that because I will do that in Photoshop, so we're not gonna really get into that here. It's not necessary. The in painting, we're not gonna use either. And then the AI transfer style, basically, is like the idea of like the AI atmosphere where it grabs a different image and it tries to replicate that style in, but it doesn't work that well most of the time. If you want to do it, you can. You can bring an image, have another pass at this, and do it. I mean, let's see if I click it, so you can see how it works. Then it tells me like I can do a stylized or I can do go realistic, right? Or I can do AI, and then I can just click on one, and then I can just type on AI style transfers, and then it would do it. So um, or I can style from a reference image, which I click here and then I can just bring my reference image, for example. So let's say I bring this image, my image that I use for my scene, just to keep it cohesively the same. This guy right here, if I do that, and you'll see like what happens. Um, if I click on the settings, I can just put the style transfer weight and the structure matching weight. So the structure matching weight, I want to keep it all the way up so then my geometry doesn't change. The style transfer weight, probably going to keep it like a point 0.4 or point 0.5. Let's try point 0.5 and see what happens. This is not the main pass I want to show you guys, but just to give you an option to have more images that you can mask in Photoshop and are able to edit better. So encourage you to do it because then you get some really cool results. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna download it to the same folder where I have my other stuff. So I'm gonna just call the scene one style transfer one. I'm gonna save, and then the other one that I'm gonna do is the AI enhancer. So I'm gonna do AI enhancer. And I'm gonna not gonna do it to this one. I'm gonna do it to the original image. So you have to go back. So if we have this style transfer here, then we're gonna go back to the original image, and then I'm gonna do AI enhancer. For the AI enhancer, I'm gonna do the enhancement weight, probably like a point 0.4, and then the texture strength a little bit high. Just maybe keep it 0.8, 0.6. And then I'm just gonna do. You can also select an area, but I just like to do the whole thing just to see what happens. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Click the AI enhancer, and then I'm gonna get the little bar with the percentage, and it's gonna be the same story. It's gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so it took again about 2 minutes. So again, now if I zoom in and I see my before and after, this is the after, this is the before. You can see how like the AI enhancer starts to like just bring the texture a little bit more to life. I mean, it's not a huge change in this one. So if you want to see like a bigger change, but you can see like how the image becomes a little bit more crisp than what it used to be. But we're going to use the other one that we created. This one looks extremely cool. This one has really cool stuff. So like I'm actually going to be using this for the Photoshop. Like I feel like the trees and the everything came out so good. Like all this came out so nice. So we're going to use that instead. It looks very real. So I'm going to, either way, I'm going to grab this one just as also as another pass. I'm going to download it. It's going to be called Scene Upscale 2. I'm going to download that. And once that's downloaded, then I'm going to get out of D5. So for now, I'm done in D5 until I go back and render my other scenes, obviously. But we're not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go straight up to Photoshop. But again, like you can either finish all your other scenes, render them, see what you come up with, or you can just get out of D5, take a break from it, and then go to Photoshop now to do something else. So I'm going to save my file. And then I'm going to just close D5. Again, sometimes it does that. I'm just going to save again just for the sake of it. Then now I'm going to open Photoshop. So I'm going to type Photoshop in my search bar. Photoshop. So now that I have Photoshop open, I'm not going to create a canvas and give it a size. I'm just going to drag my images in that I need. So I'm going to start with this one, which is the main scene. I'm just going to grab it, put it in. And then I'm going to start dragging all the other ones in. So this one's not really doing anything. So now I can grab all this, literally grab all of it, then drag it inside Photoshop like this. And then it's all going to be in the same canvas. Just press enter. Every time that you see a new one, press enter, press enter, press enter, press enter, press enter, press enter, and just until you have no more images. Now, what I want to do, I want to grab the ones that are my main images. So my upscales, I want to bring those down here to keep my stuff organized, my style transfer. And then I'm going to get all these and I'm going to put them in a group right here. So if you click this little create a new group, then that means that then they're now all under a group. So now after they're all under a group, I can turn this off, for example, and then I have my layers here. So now I'm going to first mask what I need, and then I'm going to go to these and see if I get something cool. And if I don't, I'm going to go to the next step. In Photoshop, you're going to be using layers all the time. You're going to be working with layers. So I'm going to also put these in another group so then they're organized. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab these 3 images. So now I have the style transfer on the top. I have the upscale in the second, and then I have the original in the bottom, right? So let's first start with the upscale, see what I want to keep from that. So I'm gonna mask this, and then I'm gonna see what I keep, what I don't keep. So um, to do that, we're gonna get the eraser. You can press the parenthesis brackets just like I showed you in D5, where you can make your brush bigger and smaller, or you can do it here in the top where it says size. You can change that. And we're gonna leave the hardness to 0 right now because we want to delete things completely, not partially. So that's why we're gonna keep that. If we do the hardness higher, then when we're erasing and masking, it's gonna kind of grading out the erasing, and we don't want to do that. So let's see. So there's things. Let's analyze this and see, like, from upscale. This is without the upscale. This is with the upscale, without upscale, with the upscale. So it's not like a huge difference, obviously. So maybe it's not even worth it to use this one since it's not so different. This is the one that's very different, right? So what I want to do here, though, I'm gonna create another masking on that one, right? And then here, since this one layers on the top, it needs to be on the top, so then this works. I'm gonna get rid of this pink, right? I'm just gonna get the brush tool, and I'm just gonna like erase around it, right? Gradually until I get my original shape back. So, and you have to be on the white too, by the way. You have to be in the white paint. Black paint is negative. White paint is no, white paint is negative. Black paint is positive. So just get rid of what you don't need. So I'm gonna get rid of all this. And as you can see, I'm starting to craft the scene inside here. So, and now that I see it, like if I were to turn this off, right? That's where I'm masking, which is this. That's what I'm deleting from this image. So if I take this image off, then I get my original shape in, right? So, and you can see it right here that I'm masking that part specifically. So that's the part I want to mask. Obviously, if you get this type of situations like that, go back to black and then bring it back in by like just kind of lightly tapping it, just so like you don't get weird situations. So you can lightly tap it and then just kind of integrate it in, so then you don't get like a weird result. And do the same for the rest, right? Because I think I want to use for this one, I want to use this vegetation that looks very, even gave me like a background. Like, honestly, did a really good job. Even the moon, the little moon on the top, that looks very cool. Like, I'm gonna keep that as well. I really like it. So honestly, got very lucky with this one. The scene came out super, super, super cool compared to what the render gave me. So even like, for example, you see this rock that I placed, it turned it into a tree branch, which I do like a lot. But I just love the resolution of it. It looks like a painting, and it also looks extremely realistic. So that's the powerful. That's the powerful thing about using the transfer, the AI transfer, because it can be really good. Also, let's say I want to get creative and I want to start to like cut parts away that maybe I like from the style transfer from the model. I can use the polygonal lasso and just select a specific area, and then I'm gonna keep it on the black and I'm gonna press delete. And then you see, like, I, instead of brushing it, I kind of like instead of erasing it, I just did like a more straightforward change. And if I wanted to do that, I can. So I can keep, like, if I wanted to change this pink, I could, right? Like, I could keep this pink if I wanted to. So it's all more up to me on what is the change that I want to have or what I want to keep. For now, I want the blue. I like more the blue geometry. So again, it's up to you. You can do, like, I can go this, I can put this pink if I wanted to, because that's the image below. So if I wanted to do it quicker, I can either do it like this, or the other thing, that's why we have these layers. I can go here, turn this on, go into the clown, into the material ID, right? And I can click the magic wand here, and then I can just select that. Oops. You have to be in the actual layer, sorry. So click the layer, click it, and then I select that blue. I press, I hide all this, and then now I have this selected. Then I go into my masking and I delete the other one on the top, and then I get this, right? So if I wanted to do that, I could. So it does look kind of cool. Don't get me wrong. I do kind of like that, actually. And then if I wanted to change the roof, same idea. I can go back to my material ID, turn this on, select the roof, then turn this off, with the magic wand, which is this one, and then I can go back to my masking and I can just delete instead of like selecting it. I can delete and choose that. So yeah, so again, different ways to do this. It's pretty lovely actually. So either I keep that or I keep the green one. I'm gonna keep the green one. I do like the green. So here I get a little bit of a discrepancy. So I'm gonna go back to the masking and I'm gonna grab the eraser. I'm gonna make the eraser a little bit smaller so it's like less, you know, less strong. And then I'm gonna probably grab, or maybe I'm gonna grab the polygon lasso and be a little more exact and just select what I want to get rid of. So then I get a more seamless transition here. Right, so I'm gonna do that, delete. But it is transferring the AI a little bit different. Obviously, that's why this happened. So I am gonna leave it like this. Just wanted to see what happened. And here, let's see if I can fix that part. So if I go up, make this bigger, I can go in between the crevices here. And this is all about the details now that I'm talking about. Like all this is detail work and how good of an eye you have to like start to work with this. So I fixed it a little bit there, so it's not like as noticeable. I mean, obviously it's my image, so I know how it looks like. Maybe somebody else that was looking at it was not gonna notice, but again, you want to be very, very picky with these things and make sure that you're being picky with it yourself, so then they look really, really good. So that looks kind of natural, so that's why I'm doing that, and then I'm changing this trace here on the top. So get creative with it, you know, like don't, here's going over the project, so I'm going to delete a little bit of it. Okay. Okay, cool. That was kind of nice, actually. I'm going to keep it with this, actually. I like that. I like that finish. So I'm going to keep that. Now that I have this awesome image with my project in it, now what I can move to the next step. Now, what I want to do is that I want to make a copy. So to make a copy of this folder, I'm going to press Alt and left click, and I'm going to drag like below, right? And it's going to make a copy of my group. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to call this group 3, right? And then now what I'm going to do, I'm going to merge everything in this layer. I'm just going to merge everything. So right click, merge, and I'm gonna have one layer only. The reason why I'm doing this, because right now we're gonna do AI adding. We're gonna add some AI animals and like AI, anything that I can come up with to like enhance the scene even further, and make it look nice. So and then probably get rid of this, which is a weird thing, and I'll show you how to get rid of those stuff, and also get rid of this weird seam that we got earlier. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click an area that I want to change, right? So I'm gonna click the layer, and then I'm gonna get this here. So you see this little tablet here. I'm gonna select a subject, which is this, for example, and then for this, I'm gonna just do a generative fill, and I'm gonna just click it without giving a. I'm not gonna give it a prompt. I'm just gonna generate it. What that's gonna do is that it's gonna alienate the object, and then it's gonna make it seamless. It's almost gonna clone it to what the wall looks like, and then I'm gonna have like a flush wall completely, so as you can see. So it gives me different options. Obviously these are all kind of the same, so I'm just gonna stick with one. I'm gonna have that layer there, then I'm gonna do the same thing with my model. I'm gonna click the polygon lasso. I'm gonna be in the layer itself. You have to click the layer, and then I'm gonna go select the layer. Sorry, select the part that I want to edit, then generate that fill without writing any prompts. The reason why I'm not writing any prompts is because I just wanted to focus on that, and I don't want to create something new. And that is the reason why we also merged the image to everything, because I was working by different images. If not, then it becomes confusing. There, boom, we did it. So it fixed it. So then it gives me different options. I'll stay with this one. They all kind of look the same. Okay, so now what I can do too is now add animals. Let's say that I want to add a deer, for example. Let's say that I click here, and then here in the front here, I'm gonna say generate fill, and then I'm gonna say deer eating grass. right? So I'm gonna press enter, and then we're gonna see what we get. Obviously, this is sometimes a hit or miss in terms of like maybe the first variation that you do is not gonna be the one. So again, these are things that you have to do over and over until you get a perfect one. That's actually not bad. This one is not bad either. That's a really realistic one. Oh, I really like that one. That one's nice. Like the terms of the size and how it looks really, really good. So I'm gonna use that one. I'm probably gonna desaturate it a little bit because it's a little bit too yellow. This one is more to the color of the scene. Same thing with this one was too yellow. Maybe let's do another one. Let's and we can go since I like this one a lot. I'm gonna click in this little three dots. If you hover over the image, and I'm gonna create generate similar, so it can give me similar results as this, but hopefully it gives me one that is a little more pastel. And then see what we get. Okay. So it gave me these, it gave me this, and you can see all your generations here, by the way. So you can always go back to another one that you liked. Okay, these are all pretty good actually. But as you can see, like this one even looks better. Like in terms of like the what I had here, this one starts to look even better. So, or maybe not. Mm, it does like a little bit fake in the back here. So maybe this one does look a bit natural. So let me use that one, even the movement of the deer and how it looks like. Now, to be able to fix that is very easy. What we were going to do is that I'm going to go and do a filter on this. So I'm going to go filter. I'm sorry, I'm going to go to image, adjustment, and we're going to go into hue and saturation. Now, I want to saturate it down. So as you can see, so it's not so yellow, right? Um, and then I'm going to bring the brightness. Well, that we're going to leave it because what it's doing is that it's masking the image itself. So when we do the saturation, obviously this is the image itself. If I put it at 0, that's what it looks like. If I bring it down, it's a little bit less yellow. I can also bring the colors a little bit different. So if I bring that at 0, these are the colors that I can play with to make it more the image. So it doesn't have to be super orange. But again, be careful so your image it doesn't start to like lose the composition. So I'm gonna make this a little bit less bright. And now what I'm gonna do after this, I'm gonna go into that layer here, into the masking like we have learned already how to do. And I'm gonna get the eraser. And then I'm gonna grab the eraser and I'm just gonna take away. So I'm gonna use the black. Oops, the black color. Sorry, the white. And then I'm gonna take away. So you can see I can now grab, part of what is being manipulated with the image itself because that's an image on top of this. So obviously it's being manipulated somehow. So I just want to take some of those like black and white lines that it started to create and just take it out from that. So, and carefully I'm going to go and do that. So it doesn't look weirdly gradient in the scene, Do the same thing here. Okay. So now that looks better. Now I don't have like a weird background. Now you're not going to see it. So again, that's one. I'm going to now add another one. Probably, let's see. So you always pick areas like think about still, think about movement, think about groups, right? Like that's a good way to like think about it. That's the same thing with people. So I'm going to add now a group of them. Let's see right here. So this is like an open area. I'm going to add a group of them right here. I'm going to say generate fill, and I'm gonna make sure I'm in the scene. When you do that, make sure you're in the scene, in the layer. I'm gonna say group of deers. Oops. Group of deers, right? And I'm gonna see what I get. Let's see. Hopefully, I get something good. Okay. Let's see. Some of them might not look great, so these are not the best. So I'm gonna generate again. But it even gave me one in the back like that, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this one specifically came out very nice. We'll probably do another one that's kind of moving in the scene. We'll do a group Well, these are not the best. These look very fake. This is not bad. Like it's not bad at all. Let me do a similar to that. Obviously, the closer you do them, and if it's a singular item, also if it's a single anything, it does a better job than groups. Groups is one that you have to try a couple times to make sure until you get something that's like nice. These are not bad. Look a bit weird. I'm gonna generate again. Again, you can generate, I believe, up to 16 variations, and then you have to do a new one. 16 pages of, I believe, of this. It's gonna get to a point you can't generate it anymore, so you can just do a new selection tool and do it again, or even put a person in there. Funny. Um, these white ones are actually not bad. Like they kind of fit the scene. Let me do another similar on that. And again, this is exactly what it takes. You do this over and over and over and over and over, like, until you get the one that you like. Don't just put something crappy, like, just to get it out of the way. Don't, like, just select something and be like, I'm done because I'm frustrated. Just continue doing it. Like, you're going to get something nice. Okay, I do like those white ones. These feel more natural. These kind of feel repetitive. Think about, like, well, these are kind of repetitive too. Do one more. Let's see. The algorithm is not working with me right now. This one we got very lucky, got a really good one in there. Okay, let's see. Oh, these are horrible. Yeah, this is not good. I think these are the best ones I've gotten right now, so I'm gonna stick with those. Those are not bad. And then I'm gonna do another one, maybe another one here on the back. It's kind of like it's almost like if you take a picture, you're thinking like, oh, there's a couple here, there's one here. This is a nice frame to put one. So like analyze your image that way. Like think about it that way. Like what can I add? So I'm gonna do another deer here. Just kind of overlooking to the side, to the bottom, deer. I'm just gonna put deer, see what I get. The less commands you give it, sometimes the better it works. Sometimes the more you give it, the more it works. So it just depends. Let's see what we get. Or we can do, to get a different variation, we can do male deer. See if it give us a one with horns. So this is not bad though. That's pretty good. Like in the frame, in the background, almost looks like a painting. So it's there you go, male deer. And obviously since it's in the back, you can get away with kind of how it looks like. This one's nice. I'm gonna do one more though. I like this one. And also think about the scale though. Think about this is all the way in the far in the back. Try to pick a size that makes sense and it makes sense to the scale of the image of the scene. Okay. This one's not bad. Okay. Actually, I like this one because it's like in the shadows of the trees. Or even that one. Let's go with. Yeah, this one was not bad. This one was not bad actually. I still like that one more. So let's go with this one. It's kind of in the middle walking. And then let's add one more to be interacting with the project. So like here. So let's put walking. Let's put, let me make it a little bit bigger, like here, like this, and put walking male deer. Let's see what we get. Then after that, I'm probably gonna add some birds, like just in like some of the trees. Okay, that did not come out great. I'm just gonna put deer, even though this is not that bad, but I'm sure we can get better results. Okay. That's not bad. Let's do one more. Okay. So as you can see, like the composition now is coming together the final process, and all of this for just one image. Okay, so it's like, look at all the work I'm going through to just like annotate, well, like just to get one image right. One more time. This one is not bad, but it looks a little bit flat. I think this one looked better. It had more movement. This one looks like a sticker. As you can see, it doesn't have any depth of shadows. So really don't just pick any, just like really think about what the effects and how it's affecting to the scene. I still think this one's better. So this one has more depth. So let's use this one. And then now I'm gonna add a couple birds. So I'm gonna go to the scene. I'm gonna probably go here on the top like this. And this is like close to us. I'm gonna kind of go like this. And I'm gonna say bird sitting on tree branch. And then it's gonna create a bird, and then we'll see what we get. You can even do a flock of birds. Okay, there you see, like it does a really good job. Then just pick a bird that you like. That the color also goes with the scene. This one's a nice one. It should not be something in your face. That's a really nice one too. So I'm gonna create another one, probably here maybe, almost like hiding in the scene. This is like on the front here. So same thing, bird sitting on tree branch. So this one's very specific, so that's why I specify what I want the bird to be doing. If not, it's probably gonna do something weird, flying bird or something, but I want something specific, so I specify what I want. Okay, let's see what we get. That's not bad. This one's really nice. It gives a different type of color, and it's like hitting within the tree flowers. Like as you can see, the AI is amazing. It does such a good job. So, and then maybe here I'll do a flock of birds just to like, yeah, like close to the branch, so it's not in the center of the image, but like almost like in the thing. So I'm gonna say flock of birds. See what it does. Okay. These are not bad. They look like the color of the, and they're flying towards us instead of sideways. So I'm gonna leave those in. Those are nice. Now, as you can see, I have this like weird situation going on here, right? Where it's like the other image with this. We can fix this with AI as well. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna try to just select that area with the political lasso like this. I'm just gonna select all this. And I'm gonna do a generative fill just without any prompting and see if it like gets rid of that, because it is bothering me a little bit. And again, like if you get picky, that should probably bother you. So let's see the options that we get. If he doesn't have, then at the end, then we can leave it. But okay. So without it, it looks like this. With it, looks like that. That's a bit better, right? I just like this going down. Here is going to the side. So let's try to generate another one. Let's continue generating until we get something that we're happy with. But it started to do the job here. You see, it started to like really clean the edge from my other image in there. So okay, now that was weird. Okay, there we go. That's better. So if I take it off and on, I mean, it's a little bit different, but it works. Like I'm more content with that. So I'm going to keep that. Then I'm going to do the same in this area here. I'm just going to try to see what I get from this. This one is not as bad. So if I don't get something good, I'll be completely okay with that because no one's going to know about that. It's more about me because I'm the one editing the image. So okay. Did it do anything? Okay. If I were to take it off, I mean, it is kind of different. I'm going to generate it one more time. See what I get. This one starts to really fix that part. Okay, that looks better. That looks back to the old. I think this one's good. That's nice. It breaks down that edge completely. And then the last edge that I want to fix is this one here. I want to fix that. I want to go back to my scene. I want to generate fill. And trust me, once you guys get to this level of like pickiness and you do this to all your images, you're gonna have amazing images. Like this is like the process. You see how it fixes it? That's nice. See this one? No, no. I think that first one is not bad. Like it didn't really change it much. It just extended it the image a little bit, and that's it. You can't really tell. So look at all the passes that I've given now, like two little birds, deers, and I can continue adding stuff if I wanted to. But I just wanted to show you like in terms of like a human. So I can do like a person here, and I can go here and I can say woman hiking, right? Because it's like nature. So I'm gonna say woman hiking, and it might give me a woman with like hiking gear and stuff like that. That in D5 we didn't really have that type of person. I mean, I didn't really look closely if we did, but like the people, like you see, like it's you can get something very weird or you can get something very nice. So it all depends. Like this one is not bad, but I don't like the color of her clothes, so I'm gonna generate it again. And then maybe I'll do a male hiking next to her. I don't do them at the same time because it's better to do it one by one because it gives you better results. When it tries to calculate too much, this is not bad at all. It just looks very natural. This one is too saturated. So like pick something. Like I think this one is not bad because she's like going up and like it looks very into the image. So I'm gonna do one more option and see what we get. Okay. Okay. This one's not bad either. Um Between these two though. Because the sun is coming this way and then you get some lighting. So maybe this one might be more appropriate, but let me just do one more. Let's see. Against these take some time, so it's all part of the process. Okay, this one's not bad actually. It's just I don't like the blue clothing. Let's go with this one. This one's not bad actually. Now let's do right next to her. Let's do male hiking. And then let's see if he reads the direction of the woman going that way. So let's see what happens. We can also check, like fix this right here. You can see like this like grading area. I can go back to the Gen AI and I can fix that. So it is reading the direction, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna, this one's not bad, but like the clothing is not the best. Let me generate again. Okay. Okay, more generate. They're not coming out that great. And obviously, a deer is big, so think about it. Like these are like 5'8", 6 feet people. A deer is really tall, so I don't know if you've seen a deer in person, but like think about the scale of a deer, the scale of a person, so it does look like realistic. Ah, there we go. I think this one's not bad. So let me do a similar to that one. I like the colors because of the beige and the color of the clothing. It looks better. Let's see. If not, we go with that one. That one's pretty solid. Okay. Okay. No, I think this one looks better. Like it has better resolution than this one. So we're gonna go with this two. So now I'm gonna go into back to this one, to this layer. I'm gonna go to the masking And I'm just gonna erase this little like part here, you see, like because it started to blur the scene a little bit. So just a little bit, that's it. You don't have to do much more. If you want to get closer, just get your eraser smaller, go in. By the way, to zoom in, right now I have the setting to zoom in with the scroll, but usually you zoom in with Alt in Photoshop. So to be able to do it with the scroll like I have it, you're gonna go to File, you're gonna go to no, you're gonna go to Edit, and you're gonna go to Preferences. You're gonna go to General, and then we're gonna go into interface, workspace, notifications, tools. You're gonna go to tools and you're gonna click zoom with scroll wheel. Click on that and just put OK. After that, then I can zoom in with it. I love doing the scroll wheel because then I don't have to be pressing Alt. So again, that's a good way to like zoom in. I probably should have said it at the beginning of Photoshop, but at least you guys know now. So now I have my people, I have my animals, I have, and I can continue to add more to this. I have my flock of birds. I built my scene now. Now I have a scene. Now I have something good. Now I can go into then closing this group, then copying with the Alt. So Alt click. I'm gonna just hide that group. I'm gonna select everything. I'm gonna merge it again. Merge object, merge layers. Now I'm gonna have one layer and then I'm gonna right click on this and I'm gonna convert it to a smart object. Why? Because now we're gonna edit the colorations of and the final output of this image. So we want to do a smart object because with a smart object we can always go back and change the settings that we have done. If we do not use a smart object, then we basically lose editability in the image itself. So then you have to go back. That's why we keep copies. That's why we have copies of it. So then you can always go back to it. So I'm gonna call this group 4. Keep your stuff organized so you know what you have, or you can give it any names that you want. I'm gonna go into the camera raw filter. That's like your best friend. So I'm gonna go to the camera raw filter. That's my favorite setting in Photoshop. I love to use this for post processing images and messing with lighting and stuff. And you might think like, oh, this looks like already finished. Well, we can still make it even more finished. So I'm gonna now play with all these settings. There's a lot of settings here. I'm gonna show you what each of these settings do and why they are important. So the exposure is just gonna make the image brighter or darker. I like to usually go back and forth to see the what do you call it, the exaggeration on it, to see what if my image looks okay, or do I need to make it like more down, more dimmed out, or do I need to make it brighter? Honestly, I may be a little bit more dim since it's dusk, and then the contrast is just gonna make it more pale or more like vibrant like this, right? That's like the extreme. That's the least extreme. You don't want to be in each of them. You want to be like an in between. So like if you're going more pastel, you want to go more to the left. If you want to go vibrant, more vibrant, you can go to the right. So I'm gonna kind of stay to the right here, a little more vibrant. The highlights are just gonna be the highlights of like the materials and the sky. So like right now you can see how my highlight here looks. I actually like it more than it like this. It looks pale. If I bring it all the way down, I get more color. So I'm gonna bring the highlight a little bit lower so I can really get the color of that stone in there. My shadows obviously is gonna be the shadows on the project. So this is the most. This is the least. This is the most shadows. This is the like completely bright. So I'm gonna just kind of like bring it a little bit down so I can get some of my shadows here and then see some of the light in there. And then my whites are gonna control again brightness. A lot of these tools repeat themselves a little bit in terms of, but they do control different things. I don't really need to change much with the whites, so I'm gonna leave it at 0. And then I have the blacks, which the blacks control the shadows again, but in a different way in the material ID. So I'm gonna either play with that or just keep it at 0 for now. Then again, just like in D5, we have the temperature, blue, yellow, right? Like super bright. I am gonna keep mine in the middle for now, or make it maybe a more yellow like this. Yeah, like I do like it more like that yellow, just a little bit. And then the tint, you can either go in the greens or the magentas. So mine is gonna probably stay like over here a little more to the pinkish. And then the vibrance is just like again brightness, and like these colors get taken like to the complete extreme or completely like almost black and white, right? So I'm gonna keep one in the middle. But if you were to do this and then you were to get the saturation and put it all the way up, some things come out in color. That's like a technique in Photoshop, and then you get some like black and white and also like some color. But I'm not gonna do that on mine. I'm just gonna keep this at zero. This at zero. Obviously, saturation, more saturation, less saturation. So maybe I'm gonna put my vibrance a little bit higher, just to make it more colorful. Okay. Now the texture is just gonna make the image a little more rougher. So you can see like the texture really pops or is really dim or really popped. So I'm just gonna put it a little bit higher. That's it. And then the clarity also makes the image rougher or dimmer. So I'm not gonna make it super clear because then it becomes too strong. You want to kind of like keep it a little bit or a little bit less. I wouldn't put too much. The dehazing is almost like a fog that is being added. You can either dehaze or not. I'm not going to dehaze at all. I'm gonna keep it at zero. Vignette is just gonna close the window up and down like this. So just to give you a little moment. I barely use this. And then the grain is just gonna give you a grain of like almost like an old picture. So I don't think you guys have to do grain. So just like turn that off for now. Okay, so now we go into the highlights, lights, darks, and shadows, and it gets more detail with the highlights. So like these highlights now are just maneuvering a specific part of the model of the image. So for me, it's not really doing much that I like. I'm gonna keep it at zero. The lights, not really. It's just making it brighter. So I'm gonna put it at zero. The darks, kind of the same as this settings above. I'm gonna keep it at zero, and then the shadows. Not really, so I'm just gonna keep it at zero. So that's kind of how those work. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Now these colors are really cool because you can really like take this image to the next level with these colors. So like for example, for the hue, these are the reds and oranges. So for example, if I go reds and oranges, you can see how these flowers start to change here in the bottom. You can see them if you pay attention there. You see how it gets orange or red or pink. I do like them pink, but like I do like the light pink like that. So I'm gonna do that. Then my oranges and greens, you can see how like my project changes. I don't want to change that. I like the balance. I'm gonna keep it at zero. Yellows and greens, that's like the grass is picking up on the grass and it makes it like very orangey, or we can keep it at the original. I do like going a little more into the dusk and down because of the time of the day. So then these start to become a little more orange. Then greens and aquas. So like my roof now becomes a little more aqua, or here it becomes a little more greenish. And also some of the grass stays like more pale. I do like the roof like that though, but I don't want my grass to change that much. So I'm just gonna keep it like around here. Then again, my aquas is changing my roof mostly. I don't see much change. I'm gonna keep it all the way to the top. I like the color. Then my blues and magentas. So then you can see how my plants and my facade change and my sky. So again, it picks on the entire image. So either you want to do it like this or you want to do it like this. It's up to you. I'm going to keep mine at zero for now. Then the purples are changing the plants. So like, do I keep them bluish or do I keep them more like purpley and pinkish? So I'm probably going to go stay there. And then the magentas. And the magentas are only changing in this area here. If you look closely, if I drag the bar, it just changed a little bit. So I'm just gonna leave it around here. Now the saturation of the colors, so like the reds, if you want to make them black and white or completely red, like, so you can really play with these and then make these colors more vibrant or not. Oranges, obviously like black and white or complete orange. I'm gonna keep mine at zero. Yellows, it makes these more vibrant. So then this is more quiet. And then this is the way I had it. And then it makes it even more yellow. I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to keep it the way I had it. Or maybe a little bit more. And that's it. Just a little tiny more. Then my greens. So it's affecting my grass and my roof. So you can see how my roof gets brighter. I'm just going to do a little bit of it. The aquas is affecting some of the blue there. But that looks weird. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to keep it at zero. The blues, then it affects the sky, my facade, some of the floors. I'm sorry, some of the flowers. So I'm just gonna keep that at zero. Then the purples, again, it's like all these are more like coloration wise. So maybe I want to keep them a little bit lighter. And then my pinks, my magentas, and just kind of like control that more. Now this is the luminance. This is the way that the light bounces into each of these objects. So my reds, This is the way the light bounces on that. Then my oranges, right? And I'm trying all of them so you can see what each of them do. Right, so this is how the lighting affects that. So if it was really bright, then that's why you see it like that, because it's very bright. So I'm gonna keep mine at 0 for now. My greens, and I try them because sometimes they're doing something that I like, and I'll keep it, and then I'll edit that. My aquas, not really doing much, but I do like the back white, so I'm gonna do that there. Then blues, nope, not doing something I like. And then purples, you make them a little bit brighter, and then my magentas, they can be a little bit brighter, so like you can kind of see highlights within the image. And then that's kind of it for this part. These settings, I wouldn't touch them. You don't need them. Now, this next one that I'm going to show you is really cool. Is the lens blur, and you can do this in your images if you decide to or not. I'll leave that up to you guys. I'm just showing you how the setting works. It's basically a Gaussian blur. So you can see, like, imagine I took the camera of this and I took a picture of it, and then I blurred this with my camera with the lens. If you've taken pictures with cameras before, you can see like this is blurred out, and then this is my main focus, right? So the way to control that is that here you have the blur amount, and I can put the blur amount at 0, or I can put it really high. Right now it's at 150 by default. You should leave it there. Now, to be able to do the focus range and to know exactly where the blur is, I like to use the visual light depth, because I can just move this and I know when the blur starts and where it ends, right? So this is where the blur is happening right now, and this is what I see. And then if I drag it back, if I continue to drag this, then the blur, if I turn this off, then the blur happens in the back, and then I can see this. Now, if I extend this, then I start to see further back, right? So like, it all depends how you want to see the focus range of the image. And again, how much blur do you want? So again, you don't have to do this. This is just an option. It is really cool though, the way it works. And if you don't want any blur, don't put any blur. So again, every time you do this, this little guy loads, because this is a very complicated scene and it's trying to calculate how the blur works. Then that's why it takes a little bit longer. So again, just give it some time to load and then move it, so then you can see the change. So right now, this is the way that I have it, which now you see this, and then this is blurred out, right? But then you get some weird stuff like that. So like, that's why, if you're going to do this, let this load, then kind of bring it in. You can also bring it into the middle and then wait for that to load. So now like I get some blur in the back, and then I get some in the middle, because this focus is in the middle, right? So then I get blur in the top, blur in the back, and then the middle is my main focus, depending where I move it. So yeah, play with that if you want to do something cool, like just to hone in the project or the image, and you want to blur some areas. I encourage you to do so. It can give you a very cool result, right? And just be careful if you have like a tree like this and this happens, just be careful to move the blur a little bit further back so you don't get stuff like this, because then it looks a little bit fuzzy. I'm not going to do that right now, at least for this image. So I'm just going to take it off. So if you apply, you take it off, it's done. And now you can see my old image, and you're going to see how now my new image, it's like completely different, and obviously if I want to go back, that's why we made it a smart object. If I want to go back, I'm going to click camera raw filter, right? And then I'm going to go back to it like this, right? And then I can edit from where I started. So that's why it's nice to do that. And if you wanted to make a copy of this and then change the settings to then keep this one, you can just Alt and click. And then now I have this one. I can just hide it, and then I can just select this one, and I can make new edits that maybe are going to look different. You can compare and contrast after. So, but again, it went from looking like this, right, to looking like this. So, a big difference in the pop, in the coloration, in like how everything pops in. And I almost forgot. We got to save the file, and I haven't shown that. So we're going to go File to save, File, Save a Copy, and then save it. And, you can create a folder within the renders that you had done before and call it Final Render, Final Render. and then save it as a JPEG. So here, change it to a JPEG, final render, scene 1, enter. Then save it as a maximum base standard and just put OK. And then you're gonna see that your image is done. After you save it, then also save your Photoshop file, do file, save a copy, no, sorry, save as, go into the same folder, save the Photoshop file, put OK. Then you're gonna see here that it's saving, and that's it. So we're done. This was a very long tutorial, but I think it's going to help you guys a lot to be able to understand about post-processing, about making a scene, about rendering, about how to go from Rhino to D5 and then from D5 to Photoshop. And you can see it's a whole entire workflow. Not, the final product is not what you get from the render. It's almost like in Rhino, when I told you guys when you do a make 2D, that's not the final drawing. You have to go in and make a drawing out of that. It's basically the same thing in rendering. You make a render, you go to Photoshop, you post-process, you do all these awesome steps, and then you get this, right? What we did together now. So hopefully all this helps. Please look at the video carefully. I went through a lot of detail here. So go back through everything that I have talked about, rewind it, watch parts that you're confused about. I try to go as much as in detail as possible. If there's something that's not clear, let me know and I'll clear that up. So hopefully this helps. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys produce, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you. Have a good weekend.